Hello and welcome as Zenith Players presents a live reading of All's Well That Ends Well. I'm TJ, our technical director. All of the actors you'll be hearing tonight are volunteering their time and talents from their homes to bring some entertainment to your homes. Many of them first met each other just 15 minutes ago when they first logged into this Zoom meeting. We want to thank them for continuing to read with us or for joining us for the first time. We'd like to send a shout out to our friend and colleague, Your Friendly Neighborhood Shakespeare, for hosting this live stream on his Facebook page and on YouTube, and just for the great work he does in general. We'll provide links to all his happenings in the comments, but we most want to draw attention to his live online performance with the social distancing players of Julius Caesar, Beware the Ides of March of the Penguins, this coming Wednesday. For more information about our totally volunteer organization, check out our website, zenithplayers.com. Feel very free to check out our very attractive donations page. If you want to read with us in future projects, send us an email, casting@zenithplayers.com, and we will get you on board. This is a busy week for Zenith. Coming up after this on Monday, we will continue our serial reading of The Hound of the Baskervilles. On Thursday, we'll have The Maltese Falcon. And on Saturday, the 16th, we return to Shakespeare with The Tempest. All those readings at 7 p.m. Eastern. Enough from me, let us get to the reading, as Zenith Players proudly presents All's Well That Ends Well, featuring Emily Durango as Helen, a gentlewoman of Roussillon, Julian Blake Gordon as Bertram, the Count of Roussillon, Elena Abdu as the Countess of Roussillon, Bertram's mother. Members of her household include her steward, Hillel Adiv, her fool, Caitlin Jurwitz, her page, Eleanor Bennett, and Parolles, a companion to Bertram, played by Michael Smith Gallo. Steve Anderson will be playing the King of France. Joshua Boyer will be playing Lafeu, a French lord. Shakira Searle and Andrew Gellos will also be playing the first and second French lord. Andrew Gellos will be playing the first gentleman, Rebecca Martin, the second gentleman. Lorraine Ruth Rosenberg will be playing a stranger. Patrick Brockway will be playing First Soldier, the interpreter. Eleanor Bennett will also be playing the Duke of Florence. Johanna Erickson will play a widow of Florence. And as her daughters Diana and Mariana, we have Claire Bohenick and Jasmine Cornier. Now please enjoy All's Well That Ends Well. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter young Bertram, Count of Roussillon, his mother the Countess, followed by Helen and Lord Lafeu, all in black.
In delivering my son from me, I bury a second husband.
And I in going, madam, weep o'er my father's death anew, but I must attend his majesty's command, to whom I am now in ward, evermore in subjugation.
You shall find of the king a husband, madam, you, sir, a father. He that so generally is at all times good must of necessity hold his virtue to you, whose worthiness would stir it up where it wanted rather than lack it where there is such abundance.
What hope is there of his majesty's amendment?
He hath abandoned his physicians, madam, under whose practices he hath persecuted time with hope, and finds no other advantage in the process but only the losing of hope by time.
This young gentlewoman had a father. Oh, that had, how sad a passage 'tis, whose skill was almost as great as his honesty. Had it stretched so far, would have made nature immortal, and death should have play for lack of work. Would for the king's sake he were living. I think it would be the death of the king's disease.
How called you the man you speak of, madam?
He was famous, sir, in his profession, and it was his great right to be so. Gerard de Narbonne.
He was excellent indeed, madam. The king very lately spoke of him admiringly and mourningly. He was skillful enough to have lived still, if knowledge could be set up against mortality.
What is it, my good lord, the king languishes of?
A fistula, my lord.
I heard not of it before.
I would it were not notorious. Was this gentlewoman the daughter of Gerard de Narbonne?
His sole child, my lord, and bequeathed to my overlooking. I have those hopes of her good that her education promises. Her disposition she inherits, which makes fair gifts fairer. For where an unclean mind carries virtuous qualities, their commendations go with pity. They are virtues and traitors too, and her they are the better for their simpleness. She derives her honesty and achieves her goodness.
Your commendations, madam, get from her tears.
'Tis the best brine a maiden can season her praise in. The remembrance of her father never approaches her heart, but the tyranny of her sorrows takes all livelihood from her cheek. No, no more of this, Helena. Go to, no more, lest it be rather thought you affect a sorrow than to have.
I do affect a sorrow, indeed, but I have it too.
Moderate lamentation is the right of the dead, excessive grief the enemy to the living.
If the living be enemy to the grief, the excess makes it soon mortal.
Madam, I desire your holy wishes.
How understand we that?
Be thou blessed, Bertram, and succeed thy father in manners as in shape. Thy blood and virtue contend for empire in thee, and thy goodness share with thy birthright. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Be able for thine enemy rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thine own life's key. Be checked for silence and never taxed for speech. What heaven more will that thee may furnish, and my prayers plucked down fall on my head. Farewell, my lord. Advise him.
He cannot want the best that shall attend his love.
Heaven bless him. Farewell, Bertram.
The best wishes that can be forged in your thoughts be servants to you.
Countess exits.
Be comfortable to my mother, your mistress, and make much of her.
Farewell, pretty lady. You must hold the credit of your father.
Bertram and LeFew exit.
Oh, were that all? I think not on my father, and these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgotten him. My imagination carries no favor in it but Bertram's. Oh, I am undone. There is no living, none, if Bertram be away. 'Twere all one that I should love a bright particular star and think to wed it, he is so above me. In his bright radiance and collateral light must I be comforted, not in his sphere. The ambition in my love thus plagues itself. The hind that would be mated by the lion must die for love. 'Twas pretty, though a plague, to see him every hour, to sit and draw his arched brows, his hawking eye, his curls in our heart's table, heart too capable of every line and trick of his sweet favor. But now he's gone, and my idolatrous fancy must sanctify his relics. Who comes here?
Enter Parolles.
One that goes with him. I love him for his sake, and yet I know him a notorious liar, think him a great way fool, solely a coward. Yet these fixed evils so fit in him that they take place where virtue's steely bones look bleak in the cold wind. Withal, full oft we see cold wisdom waiting on superfluous folly.
Save you, fair queen.
And you, monarch.
No.
And no.
Are you meditating on virginity?
You have some stain of soldier in you. Let me ask you a question. Man is the enemy to virginity. How may we barricado it against him?
Keep him out.
But he assails, and our virginity, though valiant in the defense, yet is weak. Unfold to us some warlike resistance.
There is none. Men setting down before you will undermine you and blow you up.
Bless our poor virginity from underminers and blowers up. Is there no military policy how virgins might blow up men?
Virginity being blown down, man will quicklier be blown up. Marry in blowing him down again. With the breach yourself made, you lose your city. Oh, it is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase, and there was never virgin got till virginity was first lost. That you were made of it is metal to make, that you were made of is metal to make virgins. Virginity, by being once lost, may be 10 times found. By being ever kept, oh, it is ever lost. 'Tis a colder companion. Away with it.
I will stand for it a little, though therefore I die a virgin.
Oh, there's little can be said in it. 'Tis against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible disobedience. He that hangs himself as a virgin, virginity murders itself and should be buried in the highways out of all sanctified limit as a desperate offendress against nature. Virginity breeds mites, much like a cheese consumes itself to the very bearing, and so dies with the feeding his own stomach besides. Virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin of the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years, it will make itself 2, which is a goodly increase, and the principle itself not much the worse. Away with it.
How might one do, sir, to lose it to her own liking?
Let me see. Marry ill. To like him that ne'er likes it, 'tis a commodity will lose the gloss with lying. The longer kept, the less worth. Off with it when it is vendible. Answer the times of request. Virginity, like an old courtier, wears her cap out of fashion, richly suited but unsuitable. Just like the brooch and the toothpick, which wear not now. Your date is better in your pie and your porridge than in your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French withered pears. Oh, it looks ill. It eats dryly. Marry, 'tis a withered pear. It was formerly better. Marry, yet 'tis a withered pear. Will you anything with it?
Not my virginity, yet there shall your master have 1,000 loves, a mother and a mistress and a friend, a phoenix, captain and an enemy, a guide, a goddess and a sovereign, a counselor, a traitress and a dear, his humble ambition, his proud humility, jarring concord, and his discord dulcet, his faith, his sweet disaster, with a world of pretty, fond, adoptious Christendoms that blinking Cupid gossips. Now shall he, I know not what he shall. God send him well. The court's a learning place, and he is one.
What one, Faith?
That I wish well. 'Tis pity.
What's pity?
That wishing well had not a body in it which might be felt, that we, the poorer born, whose baser stars do shut us up in wishes, might with effects of them follow our friends and show what we alone must think, which never returns us thanks.
Enter Page.
Monsieur Parolles, my lord calls for you.
Little Helen, farewell. If I can remember thee, I will think of thee at court.
Monsieur Parolles, you were born under a charitable star.
Under Mars,
I especially think under Mars.
Why, under Mars?
The wars have kept you under that you must needs be born under Mars.
When he was predominant.
When he was retrograde, I think, rather.
Why think you so?
You go so much backward when you fight.
That's for advantage.
So is running away, for when fear proposes the safety. But the composition that your valor and fear makes in you is a virtue of a good wing, and I like the wear well.
I am so full of businesses, I cannot answer thee acutely. Yet I will return perfect courtier, in which my instructions shall serve to naturalize thee, so thou wilt be capable of a courtier's counsel, and understand what advice shall be thrust upon thee. Else thou diest in thine unthankfulness, and thine ignorance makes thee away. Farewell. When thou hast leisure, say thy prayers. When thou hast none, remember thy friends. Get thee a good husband, and use him as he uses thee. So, farewell.
Parolles and Page exit.
Our remedies oft in ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. What power is it which mounts my love so high, that makes me see and cannot feed mine eye? The mightiest space in fortune nature brings, to join like likes and kiss like native things. Impossible be strange attempts to those that weigh their pains in sense, and do suppose what hath been cannot be. Who ever strove to show her merit that did miss her love? The king's disease. My project may deceive me, but my intents are fixed and will not leave me.
She exits. Act 1, Scene 2. Flourish cornets. Enter the King of France with letters, 2 lords, and diverse attendants.
The Florentines and Senois are by the ears, have fought with equal fortune, and continue a braving war.
So it is reported, sir.
Nay, 'tis most credible. We here receive it, a certainty, vouched from our cousin Austria, with caution that the Florentine will move us for speedy aid, wherein our dearest friend prejudicates the business, and would seem to have us make denial.
His love and wisdom, approved so to your majesty, may plead for amplest credence.
He hath armed our answer, and Florentine is denied before he comes. Yet for our gentlemen that mean to see the Tuscan service, freely have they leave to stand on either part.
It well may serve a nursery to our gentry who are sick for breathing and exploit.
Enter Bertram, Lafeu, and Parolles.
What's he comes here?
It is the Count Rossignon, my good lord, young Bertram.
Youth, thou bear'st thy father's face. Frank nature, rather curious than in haste, hath well composed thee. Thy father's moral parts mayst thou inherit too. Welcome to Paris.
My thanks and duty are your majesty's.
I would I had that corporal soundness now, as when thy father and myself in friendship first tried our soldiership. He did look far into the service of the time, and was discipled of the best, of the bravest. He lasted long, but on us both did haggish age steal on, and wore us out of act. It much repairs me to talk of your good father. In his youth he had the wit which I can well observe today in our young lords. But they may jest till their own scorn return to them unnoted, ere they can hide their levity and honor. So like a courtier, contempt nor bitterness were in his pride or sharpness. If they were, his equal had awakened them, and his honor, clocked to itself, knew the true minute when exception bid him speak, and at this time his tongue obeyed his hand. Who were below him, he used as creatures of another place, and bowed his eminent top to their low ranks, making them proud of his humility, and their poor praise he humbled. Such a man might be a copy to these younger times, which followed well would demonstrate them now, but goers backward.
His good remembrance, sir, lies richer in your thoughts than on his tomb. So in a proof lies not his epitaph, as in your royal speech.
Would I were with him. He would always say, methinks I can hear him now, his plausive words he scattered not in ears, but grafted them to grow there and to bear. Let me not live, This his good melancholy oft began on the catastrophe and heel of pastime when it was out. Let me not live, quoth he, after my flame lacks oil, to be the snuff of younger spirits, whose apprehensive senses all but new things disdain, whose judgments are mere fathers of their garments, whose constancies expire before their fashions. This he wished. I after him do after him wish too, since I nor wax nor honey can bring home. I quickly were dissolved from my hive to give some laborers room.
Your loved, sir, that they least lend it, you shall lack you first.
I fill a place, I know it. How long is it, Count, since the physician at your father's died? He was much famed.
Some 6 months since, my lord.
If he were living, I would try him yet. Lend me an arm. The rest have worn me out with several applications. Nature and sickness debated at their leisure. Welcome, Count, my sons, no dearer.
Thank your majesty.
They exit, a flourish. Act 1, Scene 3. Enter the Countess, her steward, and fool.
I will now hear. What say you of this gentlewoman?
Madam, the care I've had to even your content, I wish might be found in the calendar of thy past endeavors, for then we wound our modesty and make foul the clearness of our deservings when of ourselves we publish them.
What does this knave here? Get you gone, sirrah. The complaints I have heard of you I do not all believe. 'Tis my slowness that I do not, for I know you lack not folly to commit them, and have ability enough to make such knaveries yours.
'Tis not unknown to you, madam, I am a poor fellow.
Well, sir.
No, madam, 'tis not so well that I am poor, though many of the rich are damned. But if I may have your ladyship's good will to go to the world, Isabel the woman and I will do as we may.
Wilt thou needs be a beggar?
I do beg your good will in this case.
In what case?
In Isabel's case and mine own. Service is no heritage, and I think I shall never have the blessing of God till I have issue o' my body, for they say bairns are blessings.
Tell me thy reason why thou wilt marry.
My poor body, madam, requires it. I am driven on by the flesh, and he must needs go that the devil drives.
Is this all your worship's reason?
Faith, madam, I have other holy reasons, such as they are.
May the world know them.
I have been, madam, a wicked creature, as you and all flesh and blood are, and indeed I do marry that I may repent.
Thy marriage sooner than thy wickedness.
I am out of friends, madam, and I hope to have friends for my wife's sake.
Such friends are thine enemies, knave.
You're shallow, madam, in great friends, for the knaves come to do that for me which I am weary of. He that ears my land spares my team and gives me leave to in the crop. If I be his cuckold, he's my drudge. He that comforts my wife is the cherisher of my flesh and blood. He that cherishes my flesh and blood loves my flesh and blood. He that loves my flesh and blood is my friend. Ergo, he that kisses my wife is my friend. If men could be contented to be what they are, there were no fear in marriage. For young Charbon the Puritan and old Poysam the Papist, howsoe'er their hearts are severed in religion, their heads are both one. They may jowl horns together like any deer in the herd.
Wilt thou ever be a foul-mouthed and calumnious knave?
A prophet I, madam, and I speak the truth the next way. For the ballad will repeat, which men full true shall find. Your marriage comes by destiny, your cuckoo sings by kind.
Get you gone, sir. I'll talk with you more anon.
May it please you, madam.
That he bid Helen come to you, of her I am to speak.
Sirrah, tell my gentlewoman I would speak with her. Helen, I mean.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she, why the Grecians sacked Troy? Fond done fond, was this King Priam's joy? With that she sighed as she stood, and gave this sentence then, Among 9 bad, if one be good, among 9 bad, if one be good, there's yet one good in 10.
What, 1 good in 10? You corrupt the song, sirrah.
1 good woman in 10, madam, which is a purifying o' the song. Would God would serve the world so all the year. We'd find no fault with the tithe woman if I were the parson. 1 in 10, quoth he? And we might have a good woman born, but o'er every blazing star or at an earthquake, 'twould mend the lottery well. A man may draw his heart out ere he pluck one.
You'll be gone, sir knave, and do as I command you.
That man should be at woman's command, and yet no hurt done. Though honesty be no Puritan, yet it will do no hurt. It will wear the surplice of humility over the black gown of a big heart. I am going, forsooth. The business is for Helen to come hither.
He exits.
Well, now,
I know, madam, you love your gentlewoman entirely.
faith I do. Her father bequeathed her to me, and she herself, without other advantage, may lawfully make title to as much love as she finds. There's more owing her than is paid, and more shall be paid her than she'll demand.
Madam, I was very late, more near her than I think she wished me. Alone she was, and did communicate to herself her own words to her own ears. She thought, I dare vow for her, they touched not any stranger's sense. Her matter was she loved your son. Fortune, she said, was no goddess that had put such difference betwixt their 2 estates. Love no god that would not extend his might, only where qualities were level. Diane, no queen of virgins that would suffer her poor knight surprised with rescue in the first assault or ransom afterward. This she delivered in the most bitter touch of sorrow, that ere I heard virgin exclaim in, which I held my duty speedily to acquaint you withal. Sithence, in the loss that may happen, it concerns you something to know it.
You have discharged this honestly. Keep it to yourself. Many likelihoods informed me of this before, which hung so tottering in the balance that I could neither believe nor misdoubt. Pray you leave me. Stall this in your bosom, and I thank you for your honest care. I will speak with you further anon.
The steward exits. Enter Helen.
Even so it was with me when I was young. If ever we are nature's, these are ours. This thorn doth to our rose of youth rightly belong. Our blood to this, this to our blood is born. It is the show and seal of nature's truth, where love's strong passion is impressed in youth. By our remembrances of days foregone, such were our faults, or then we thought them none. Her eye is sick on it. I observe her now.
What is your pleasure, madam?
You know, Helen, I am a mother to you.
Mine honourable mistress.
Nay, a mother. Why not a mother? When I said a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother that you start at it? I say I am your mother, and put you in the catalogue of those that were in womb mine. 'Tis often seen adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds a native slip to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan. Did I express to you a mother's care? God's mercy, maiden, does it curd thy blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter, that this distempered messenger of wet, the many-colored iris rounds thine eye? Why, that you are my daughter?
That I am not.
I say I am your mother.
Pardon, madam. The Count Rousillon cannot be my brother. I am from humble, he from honoured name. No note upon my parents, his all noble. My master, my dear lord he is, and I his servant live and will his vassal die. He must not be my brother.
Nor I your mother.
You are my mother, Madam, would you were, so that my lord your son were not my brother, indeed my mother? Or were you both our mothers? I care no more for than I do for heaven, so I were not his sister. Can it no other, but I your daughter? He must be my brother.
Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. But shield, you mean it not. Daughter and mother so strive upon your pulse. What, pale again? My fear has catched your fondness. Now I see the mystery of your loneliness and find your salt tears head. Now to all sense 'tis gross. You love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion to say thou dost not. Therefore tell me true. But tell me then 'tis so. For look, thy cheeks confess it, the one to the other, and thine eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviors, that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy tie thy tongue, that truth should be suspected. Speak, is it so? If it be so, you have wound a goodly clue. If it be not, forswear it. However, I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, to tell me truly.
Oh, good madam, pardon me.
Do you love my son?
Your pardon, noble mistress.
Love you, my son?
Do you not love him, madam?
Oh, go not about. My love hath in it bond, whereof the world takes note. Come, come, disclose the state of your affection, for your passions have to the full a peach.
Then I confess, here on my knee before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor, but honest, so is my love. Be not offended, for it hurts him not that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him, yet never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain, strive against hope, yet in this captious and untenable sieve I shall pour in the waters of my love and lack not to lose still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in my error, I adore the sun that looks upon his worshipper but knows of him no more. My dearest madam, let not your hate encounter with my love for loving where you do, but if yourself, whose aged honour cites a virtuous youth, did ever in so true a flame of liking wish chastely and love dearly, that your Diane was both herself and love, oh, then give pity to her whose state is such that cannot choose but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find that her search implies, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies.
Had you not lately an intent, speak truly, to go to Paris?
Madam, I had.
Wherefore? Tell true.
I will tell truth. By grace itself, I swear. You know my father left me some prescriptions of rare and proved effects, such as his reading and manifest experience had collected for general sovereignty, and that he willed me in heedfullest reservation to bestow them as notes whose faculties inclusive were more than they were in note. Amongst the rest, there is a remedy approved, set down, to cure the desperate languishings whereof the king is rendered lost.
This was your motive for Paris, was it? Speak.
My lord, your son, made me to think of this. Else Paris and the medicine and the king had from the conversation of my thoughts haply been absent then.
But think you, Helen, if you should tender your supposed aid, he would receive it? He and his physicians are of a mind. He that they cannot help him, that they cannot help. How shall they credit a poor unlearned virgin when the schools emboweled of their doctrine have left off the danger to itself?
There's something in it more than my father's skill. which was the greatest of his profession, that his good receipt shall for my legacy be sanctified by the luckiest stars of heaven. And would your honour but give me leave to try success, I'd venture the well-lost life of mine on his grace's cure by such a day and hour.
Dost thou believe it?
Ay, madam, knowingly.
Why, Helen, thou shalt have my leave and love, means and attendance, and my loving greetings to those of mine in court. I'll stay at home and pray God's blessing into thy attempt. Be gone tomorrow, and be sure of this: what I can help thee to, thou shalt not miss.
Exit. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. Flourish cornets. Enter the king, attended with diverse young lords, taking leave for the Florentine War. Bertram, Count Roussillon, and Parolles.
Farewell, young lords. These warlike principles do not throw from you. And you, my lords, farewell. Share the advice betwixt you. If both gain all, the gift doth stretch itself as 'tis received, and is enough for both.
'Tis our hope, sir, after well-entered soldiers, to return and find your grace in health.
Oh, no, it cannot be. Yet my heart will not confess he owes the malady that doth my life besiege. Farewell, young lords. Whether I live or die, be you the sons of worthy Frenchmen. Let higher Italy, those baited that inherit but the fall of the last monarchy, see that you come not to woo honor, but to wed it. When the bravest questant shrinks, find what you seek, that fame may cry you loud. I say farewell.
Health at your bidding serve, your majesty.
Those girls of Italy, take heed of them. They say our French lack language to deny if they demand. Beware of being captives before you serve.
Our hearts receive your warnings.
Farewell. Come hither to me.
Oh, my sweet lord, that you will stay behind us.
It's not his fault, the spark.
Oh, 'tis brave wars.
Most admirable, I have seen those wars.
I am commanded here and kept a coil with too young and the next year, and 'tis too early.
And my mind stand to it, boy, steal away bravely.
I shall stay here, the 4-horse to a smock, creaking my shoes on the plain masonry, till honor be brought up, and no sword worn, but one to dance with. By heaven, I'll steal away.
There's honor in the theft.
Wit to count.
I am your accessory, and so farewell.
I grow to you, and our parting is a tortured body.
Farewell, Captain.
Sweet Monsieur Parolles.
Noble heroes, my swords and yours are kin. Good sparks and lustrous a word, good metals. And shall find in the regiment of the Spirit one Captain Spurrier with his cicatrice, an emblem of war. Here on the sinister check, it was this very sword entrenched. Say to him, I live and observe his reports for me.
We shall, noble Captain.
Mars dote on you for his novices.
Lord's exit.
What will you do?
Stay the king.
Use a more spacious ceremony to the noble lords. You ever strain yourself with the list of too cold an adieu, but be more expressive to them, for they wear themselves in the cap of the time. There do muster the true gait, each speak and move under the influence of the most received star, and through the devil lead the measure. Such are to be followed. After them and take a more dilated farewell.
And I will do so.
Worthy fellows, and like to prove most sinewy swordsmen.
Bertram and Parolles exit. Enter Lefew.
Pardon, my lord, for me and for my tidings.
I'll fee thee to stand up.
Then here's a man stands that has brought his pardon. I would you had kneeled, my lord, to ask me mercy, and that at my bidding you could so stand up.
I would I had. So I had broke thy pate and asked thee mercy for it.
good faith across. But, my good lord, 'tis thus. Will you be cured of your infirmity?
No.
Oh, will you eat no grapes, my royal fox? Yes, but you will, my noble grapes, and if my royal fox could reach them, I have seen a medicine that's able to breathe life into a stone, quicken a rock, and make you dance canary with sprightly fire and motion, whose simple touch is powerful to erase King Pippin, nay, to give great Charlemagne a pen in his hand and write to her a love line.
What her is this?
Why, a doctor, she. My lord, there's one arrived, if you will see her. Now, by my faith and honor, if seriously I may convey my thoughts in this my light deliverance, I have spoke with one that in her sex, her years, profession, wisdom, and constancy hath amazed me more than I dare blame my weakness. Will you see here, for that is her demand, and know her business? That done, laugh well at me.
Now, good Lufew, bring in the admiration. And we with thee may spend our wonder too, or take off thine by wondering how thou tookst to it.
Nay, I'll fit you, and not be all day neither.
He goes.
Thus he his special nothing ever prologues.
Enter Helen.
Nay, come your ways.
Haste hath wings indeed.
Nay, come your ways. This is his majesty. Say your mind to him. A traitor you do look like, but such traitors his majesty seldom fears. I am Cressid's uncle that dare leave two together. Fare you well.
Exit.
Fair one, does your business follow us?
I, my good lord, Gerard de Narbonne was my father. In what he did profess well found.
I knew him.
The rather will I spare my praises toward him. Knowing him is enough. On his bed of death, many receipts he gave me, chiefly one which, as the dearest issue of his practice and of his old experience, the only darling, he made me store up as a triple eye, safer than mine own two, more dear. I have so, and hearing your high majesty is touched with that malignant cause wherein the honour of my dear father's gifts stand chief in power, I come to tender it, and my appliance, with all bound humbleness.
We thank you, maiden, but may not be so credulous of cure, when our most learned doctors leave us, and the congregated college have concluded that laboring art can never ransom nature from her inaidable estate. I say we must not so stain our judgment or corrupt our hope to prostitute our past cure maladies to empirics, or to dissever so our great self and our credit to esteem a senseless help, when help past sense we deem.
My duty, then, shall pay me for my pains. I will no more enforce mine office on you, humbly entreating from your royal thoughts a modest one to bear me back again.
I cannot give thee less, to be called grateful. Thou thought'st to help me, and such thanks I give as one near death to those that wish him live. But what at full I know, thou know'st no part. I knowing all my peril, thou no art.
What I can do no hurt to try, since you set up your rest gainst remedy. He that of greatest works is finisher oft does them by the weakest minister. So holy writ in babes hath judgment shown when judges have been babes. Great floods have flown from simple sources, and great seas have dried when miracles have by the greatest been denied. Oft expectation fails, and most oft there where most it promises, and oft it hits where hope is coldest and despair most shifts.
I must not hear thee. Fare thee well, kind maid. Thy pains not used must by thyself be paid. Proffers not took reap thanks for their reward.
Inspired merit so by breath is barred. It is not so with him that all things knows, as 'tis with us that square our guess by shows. But most it is presumptuous in us when the help of heaven we count the act of men. Dear sir, to my endeavours give consent of heaven, not me. Make an experiment. I am not an impostor that it proclaim myself against the level of mine aim. But know I think, and think I know most sure, my art is not past power, nor you past cure.
Art thou so confident? Within what space hopest thou my cure?
The greatest grace lending grace, ere twice the horses of the sun shall bring their fiery torture, his diurnal ring, ere twice in murk and occidental damp a moist Hesperus hath quenched her sleepy lamp, or 24 times the pilot's glass hath told the thievish minutes how they pass. What is infirm from you, your sound parts shall fly, health shall live free, and sickness freely die.
Upon thy certainty and confidence, what darest thou venture?
Tax of impudence, a strumpet's boldness, my traduced by odious ballads, my maiden's name, seared otherwise. Nay, worst of worst, extended with vilest torture, let my life be ended.
Methinks in thee some blessed spirit doth speak his powerful sound within an organ weak. And what impossibility would slay in common sense saves another way. Thy life is dear, for all that life can rate, worth name of life in thee hath estimate. Youth, beauty, wisdom, courage, all that happiness and prime can happy call. Thou this to hazard needs must intimate skill infinite, or monstrous desperate. Sweet practicer, thy physic I will try, that ministers thine own death if I die.
If I break time or flinch in property of what I spoke, unpitied, let me die, and well deserved. Not helping, death's my fee. But if I help, what do you promise me?
Make thy demand.
But will you make it even?
Aye, by my scepter and my hopes of heaven.
Then shalt thou give me, with thy kingly hand, what husband in thy power I will command. Exempted be me from the arrogance to choose from forth the royal blood of France, my low and humble name to propagate with any branch or image of thy state. But such a one, thy vassal, whom I know is free for me to ask, thee to bestow.
Here is my hand. The premises observed, thy will by my performance shall be served. So make the choice of thine own time, for I, thy resolved patient, on thee still rely. More should I question thee, and more I must. The more to know could not be more to trust. From whence thou camest, how tended on, but rest unquestioned welcome and undoubted blessed. Give me some help here, oh, if thou proceed as high as word, my deed shall match thy deed.
A flourish, and they exit, the king assisted. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter the Countess and her fool.
Come on, sir. I shall now put you to the height of your breeding.
I will show myself highly fed and lowly taught. I know my business is but to the court.
To the court? Why, what place makes you special when you put off that with such contempt? But to the court.
Truly, madam, if God had lent a man any manners, he may easily put it off at court. He that cannot make a leg, pull off his cap, kiss his hand, and say nothing, has neither leg, hands, lip, nor cap. And indeed, such a fellow, to say precisely, were not for the court. But for me, I have an answer that will serve all men.
Marry, that's a bountiful answer that fits all questions.
It is like a barber's chair that fits all buttocks. The pin buttock, the quatch buttock, the brawn buttock, or any buttock.
Will your answer serve to fit all questions?
As fit as 10 groats is for the hand of an attorney, as your French crown for your taffety punk, as Tibbs' rush for Tom's forefinger, as a pancake for Shrove Tuesday, a Morris for Mayday, as the nail to his hole, the cuckle to his horn, as a scolding queen to a wrangling knave, as the nun's lip to the friar's mouth, nay, as the pudding to his skin.
Have you, I say, an answer of such fitness for all questions?
From below your duke to beneath your constable, it will fit any question.
It must be an answer of most monstrous size that must fit needs all demands.
But a trifle neither, in good faith, if the learned should speak truth of it. Here it is, and all that belongs to it. Ask me, if I am a courtier, it shall do you no harm to learn.
To be young again, if we could. I will be a fool in question, hoping to be the wiser by your answer. I pray you, sir, are you a courtier?
Oh, Lord, sir. There's a simple putting off. More, 100 of them.
Sir, I am a poor friend of yours that loves you.
Oh, Lord, sir. Thick, spare not me.
I think, sir, you could eat none of this homely meat.
Oh, Lord, sir. Nay, put me to it, I warrant you.
You were lately whipped, sir, as I think.
Oh, Lord, sir. Spare not me.
Do you cry, O Lord, sir, at your whipping, and spare not me? Indeed, your O Lord, sir, is very sequent to your whipping. You would answer very well to a whipping if you were but bound to it.
I ne'er had worse luck in my life in my O Lord, sir. I see things may serve long, but not serve ever.
I play the noble housewife with the time to entertain it so merrily with a fool.
Oh, Lord, sir. Why, there it serves well again.
An end, sir. To your business. Give Helen this, and urge her to a present answer back. Commend me to my kinsman and my son. This is not much.
Not much commendation to them.
Not much employment for you. You understand me.
Most fruitfully, I am there before my legs.
Haste you again.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 3. Enter Count Bertram, Lafew, and Parolles.
They say miracles are past, and we have our philosophical persons to make modern and familiar things supernatural and causeless. Hence is it that we make trifles of terrors, ensconcing ourselves into seeming knowledge when we should submit ourselves to an unknown fear.
Why? 'Tis the rarest argument of wonder that is shot out in the latter times.
And so 'tis.
To be relinquished of the artists and
I say, both of Galen and Paracelsus.
of all the learned and authentic fellows
Right, so I say.
that gave him an incurable,
Why, there 'tis. So I say too.
not to be helped,
Right. As 'twere a man assured of it,
uncertain life and sure death.
Just. You say well. So would I have said.
I may truly say it is a novelty to the world.
It is indeed. If you will have it in its showing, you shall read it in the, what do you call there?
A showing of a heavenly effect in an earthly actor.
That's it! I would have said the very same.
Why, your dolphin is not lustier. For me, I speak in respect
Well,
of...
strange, just very strange, that is brief and the tedious of it, and he's a more fankinorous spirit that would not acknowledge it to be the
very hand of heaven.
Oh,
In a most weak...
a delible minister, great power, great transcendence, which should indeed give us a further use to be made, that alone the recovery of the king has to be
generally thankful.
To the king, Helen, and attendants.
I would have said, you say well. Here comes the king.
Lustig, as the Dutchman says, I'll like a maid the better whilst I have a tooth in my head. Why, he's able to lead her a coronato.
Oh, Lord de Vinaigre, is this not Helen?
For God, I think so.
Go, call before me all the lords in court. Sit, my preserver, by thy patient's side, and with this healthful hand, whose banished since thou hast repealed, a second time receive the confirmation of my promised gift, which but attends thy naming. Fair maid, send forth thine eye. This youthful parcel of noble bachelors stand at my bestowing, o'er whom both sovereign power and father's voice I have to use. Thy frank election make, thou hast power to choose, and they none to forsake.
To each of you one fair and virtuous mistress fall when love please. Marry, to each but one.
I'd give Bay Kirtle and his furniture, my mouth no more were broken than these boys, and writ as little beard.
Peruse them well. Not one of those but had a noble father.
Gentlemen, heaven hath through me restored the king to that health.
We understand it.
We
Thank
understand
heaven
it
for
and
you.
thank heaven for you.
Thank you.
I am a simple maid, and therein wealthiest that I protest, I simply am a maid. Please it your majesty, I have done already. The blushes in my cheek thus whisper me, we blush that thou shouldst choose, but be refused, let the white death sit on thy cheek forever, will ne'er come there again.
Make choice, and see who shuns thy love, shuns all his love to me.
Now, Diane, from thy altar I do fly, and to imperial love, that God most high, do my sighs stream. Sir, will you hear my suit?
And grant it.
Thanks, sir. All the rest is mute.
I had rather be in this choice than throw aims ace for my life.
The honour, sir, that flames in your fair eyes before I speak too threateningly replies. Love make your fortune 20 times above her that so wishes, and her humble love.
No better, if it please.
My wish receive, which great love grant, and so I take my leave.
Do all they deny her, and they were sons of mine, I'd have them whipped, or I would send them to the Turk to make eunuchs of.
Be not afraid that I your hand should take. I'll never do you wrong for your own sake. Blessing upon your vows, and in your bed find fairer fortune if you ever wed.
These boys are boys of ice, they'll none have her. Sure, they are bastards to the English, the French ne'er got 'em.
You are too young, too happy and too good to make yourself a son out of my blood.
Fair one, I think not so.
There's one grape yet. I'm sure thy father drunk wine. But if thou be'st not an ass, I am a youth of 14. I have known thee already.
I dare not say I take you, but I give me and my service ever whilst I live into your guiding power. This is the man.
Why then, young Bertram, take her. She's thy wife.
My wife? My liege, I shall beseech your highness in such a business. Give me leave to use the help of mine own eyes.
Know'st thou not, Bertram, what she has done for me?
Yes, my good lord, but never hope to know why I should marry her.
Thou know'st she has raised me from my sickly bed.
But follows it, my lord, to bring me down, must answer for your raising? I know her well. She had her breeding at my father's charge, a poor physician's daughter. My wife? Disdain rather corrupt me ever.
'Tis only title thou disdainst in her, the which I can build up. Strange is it that our bloods of color, weight, and heat, poured all together, would quite confound distinction, yet stands off in differences so mighty. If she be all that is virtuous, save what thou dislikest, a poor physician's daughter, thou dislikest of virtue for her name. But do not so. From lowest place, whence virtuous things proceed, the place is dignified by the doer's deed. Where great additions swell, and virtue none, it is a dropsied honor. Good alone is good, without a name, vileness is so. The property by what it is should go, not by the title. She is young, wise, fair. In these to nature she's immediate heir, and these breed honor. That is honor's scorn, which challenges itself as honor's born, and is not like the sire. Honors thrive when rather from our acts we then derive than our foregoers. The mere word's a slave, debauched on every tomb, on every grave a lying trophy, that as oft is dumb, where dust and damned oblivion is the tomb of honored bones indeed. What should be said? If thou canst like this creature as a maid, I can create the rest. Virtue, and she is her own dower, honor and wealth from me.
I cannot love her, nor will strive to do it.
Thou wrong'st thyself if thou shouldst strive to choose.
That you are well restored, my lord. I'm glad. Let the rest go.
My honor's at the stake, which to defeat I must produce my power. Here, take her hand, proud, scornful boy, unworthy this good gift, that dost in vile misprision shackle up my love and her desert, that canst not dream we, poising us in her defective scale, shall weigh thee to the beam, that wilt not know it is in us to plant thy honor where we please to have it grow. Check thy contempt, obey our will, which travails in thy good. Believe not thy disdain, but presently do thine own fortunes that obedient right, which both thy duty owes and our power claims. Or I will throw thee from my care forever into the staggers and the careless lapse of youth and ignorance, both my revenge and hate losing upon thee in the name of justice without all terms of pity. Speak thine answer.
Pardon, my gracious lord, for I submit my fancy to your eyes. When I consider what great creation and what dole of honor flies where you bid it, I find that she which late was in my nobler thoughts, most base is now the praised of the king, who so ennobled is as 'twere born so.
Take her by hand and tell her she is thine, to whom I promise a counterpoise, if not to thy estate, a balance more replete.
I take her hand.
Good fortune and the favor of the king smile upon this contract, whose ceremony shall seem expedient on the now born brief, and be performed tonight. The solemn feast shall more attend upon the coming space, expecting absent friends. As thou lovest her, thy love's to me religious, else does err.
They exit. Parolles and LeFew stay behind.
Do you hear, monsieur? A word with you.
Your pleasure, sir.
Your lord and master did well to make his recantation.
Recantation. My lord? My master.
Aye, is it not a language I speak?
Well, a most harsh one, and not to be understood without bloody succeeding. My master?
Are you companion to the Count Roussillon?
To any count, to all counts, to what is man.
To what is Count's man? Count's master is of another style.
You are too old, sir. Let me satisfy you. You are too old.
I must tell thee, sirrah, I write man, to which title age cannot bring thee.
What I dare too well do, I dare not do.
I did thank thee for 2 ordinaries to be a pretty wise fellow. Thou didst make tolerable vent of thy travel. It might pass. Yet the scarves and the bannerets about thee did manifoldly dissuade me from believing thee a vessel of too great a burden. I have now found thee. When I lose thee again, I care not. Yet art thou good for nothing but taking up, and that thou art scarce worth.
Hast thou not the privilege of antiquity upon thee?
Do not plunge thyself too far in anger, lest thou hasten thy trial, which if, Lord have mercy on thee for a hen. So, my good window of lattice, fare thee well. Thy casement I need not open, for I look through thee. Give me thy hand.
My lord, you give me most egregious indignity.
Aye, with all my heart, and thou art worthy of it.
I have not, my lord, deserved it.
Yes, good faith, every dram of it, and I will not bait thee a scruple.
Well, I shall be wiser.
Even as soon as thou canst, for thou hast to pull out a smack of the contrary. If ever thou beest bound in thy scarf and beaten, thou shalt find what it is to be proud of thy bondage. I have a desire to hold my acquaintance with thee, or rather my knowledge, that I may say in the default, He is a man I know.
My lord, you do me most insupportable vexation.
I would it were hell pains for thy sake, and my poor doing eternal. For doing I am past, as I will by thee in what motion age will give me leave.
He exits.
Well, thou hast a son shall take this disgrace off me. Scurvy, old, filthy scurvy, lord. Well, I must be patient. There is no fettering of authority. I'll beat him. By my life, if I can meet him with any convenience, and he were double and double a lord, I'll have no more pity on his age than I would have of. I'll beat him. And if I could but meet him again.
Enter LeFew.
Sirrah, your lord and master's married. There's news for you. You have a new mistress.
I'm unfeignedly beseech your lordship to make some reservation of your wrongs. He is my good lord, whom I serve above he is my good lord, whom I serve above is my master.
Who? God?
Aye, sir.
The devil it is that's thy master. Why dost thou garter up thy arms of this fashion? Dost make hose of thy sleeves? Do other servants so? Thou wert best set thy lower part where thy nose stands. By mine honour, if I were but 2 hours younger, I'd beat thee. Methinkest thou art a general offence, and every man should beat thee. I think thou wast created for men to breathe themselves upon thee.
This is a hard and undeserved measure, my lord.
Go to, sir. You were beaten in Italy for picking a kernel out of a pomegranate. You are a vagabond and no true traveler. You are more saucy with lords and honorable personages than the commission of your birth and virtue gives you heraldry. You are not worth another word, else I'd call you knave. I leave you.
He exits.
Good. Very good. It is so then. Good, very good. Let it be concealed a while.
Enter Bertram.
Undone and forfeited to cares forever.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Although before the solemn priest I have sworn, I will not bed her.
What? What, sweetheart?
Ah, my Parolles, they have married me. I'll to the Tuscan wars and never bed her.
France is a dog hole. It no more merits the tread of a man's foot. To the wars!
There's letters from my mother. What the import is, I know not yet.
Hi, that would be known. To the wars, my boy, to the wars. He wears his honor in a box unseen that hugs his kicky-wicky here at home, spending his manly marrow in her arms, which should sustain the bound of high covet, of Mars' fiery steed, to other regions. France is a stable, France is a stable, we that dwell at the shades, therefore to the war!
It shall be so. I'll send her to my house, acquaint my mother with my hate to her, and wherefore I am fled. Write to the king that which I durst not speak. His present gift shall furnish me to those Italian fields where noble fellows strike. War is no strife to the dark house and the detested wife.
Will this capriccio hold in thee? Sure.
Go with me to my chamber and advise me. I'll send her straight away. Tomorrow I'll to the wars. She to her single sorrow.
These balls bound. There's noise in it. It's hard. A young man married is a man that's marred. Therefore away and leave her bravely. Go. The king has done you wrong, but hush. To so.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 4. Enter Helen with a paper and the fool.
My mother greets me kindly. Is she well?
She is not well, but yet she has her health. She's very merry, but yet she is not well. But thanks be given, she's very well and wants nothing of the world, but yet she is not well.
If she be very well, what does she ail that she's not very well?
Truly, she is very well indeed, but for 2 things.
What 2 things?
One, that she's not in heaven, whither God sent her quickly. The other, that she's in earth, from whence God sent her quickly.
Enter Parolus.
Bless you, my fortunate lady.
I hope, sir, I have your good will to have mine own good fortunes.
You had my prayers to lead them on, and to keep them on, have them still. Oh my knave, how does your lady?
So that you had her wrinkles and I her money, I would she did as you say.
What? I say nothing.
Marry, you are the wiser man, for many a man's tongue shakes out his master's undoing. To say nothing, to do nothing, to know nothing, and to have nothing is to be a great part of your title, which is within a very little of nothing.
Away, thou knave.
You should have said, sir, before a knave thou art a knave. That's before me thou art a knave. This has been a truth, sir.
Go to, thou art a witty folly. I have found thee.
Did you find me in yourself, sir, or were you taught to find me? The search, sir, was profitable, and much fool may you find in you, even to the world's pleasure and the increase of laughter.
Good name and faith, and well fed. Madam, my lord will go away tonight. A very serious business calls on him. A great prerogative and right of love, which as your due time claims, he does acknowledge, but puts it off to a compelled restraint, whose want and whose delay is strewed with sweets, which they distill now in the curbed time to make the coming hour overflow with joy, and pleasure drown to the brim.
What's his will else?
That you will take your instant leave of the king, and make the haste as your own good proceeding, strengthened with what apology you think may make it probable need.
What more commands he?
That having this obtained, you presently attend his further pleasure.
In everything I wait upon his will.
I shall report it, sir.
Parolus exits.
I pray you, come, Sirrah.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 5. Enter LeFew and Bertram.
But I hope your lordship thinks not him a soldier.
Yes, my lord, and a very valiant of proof.
You have it from his own deliverance.
And by other warranted testimony.
Then my tale goes not true. I took this lark for a bunting.
I do assure you, my lord, he is very great in knowledge and accordingly valiant.
I have then sinned against his experience and transgressed against his valor. And my state that way is dangerous, since I cannot yet find in my heart to repent. Here he comes. I pray you make us friends. I will pursue the amity.
Enter Parolus.
These things shall be done, sir.
Pray you, sir, who's his tailor?
Sir?
Oh, I know him well. Aye, sir. He, sir's a good workman, a very good tailor.
Is she gone to the king?
Yes.
Will she away tonight?
Then you'll have her.
I have written I have written my letters, casketed my treasure, given orders for our horses, and tonight, when I should take possession of the bride, and ere I do begin.
A good traveler, something at the latter end of a dinner, but one that lies 3/3, and uses a known truth to pass 1,000 nothings, with should be once heard and thrice beaten. God save you, Captain.
Is there any unkindness between my lord and you, monsieur?
I know not how I have deserved to run into my lord's displeasure.
You have made shift to run into it, boots and spurs and all, like him that leaped into the custard, and out of it you'll run again rather than suffer question for your residence.
It may be you have mistaken him, my lord.
And shall do so ever, though I took him as prayers. Fare you well, my lord, and believe this of me, there can be no kernel in this light nut. The soul of this man is his clothes. Trust him not in matter of heavy consequence. I have kept of them tame and know their natures. Farewell, monsieur. I have spoken better of you than you have or will to deserve at my hand. But we must do good against evil.
He exits.
Idle lord, I swear.
I think not so.
Why? Do you not know him?
Yes, I do know him well, and common speech gives him a worthy pass.
Enter Helen.
Here comes my clog.
I have, sir, as I was commanded from you, spoke with the king and have procured his leave for present parting. Only he desires some private word with you.
I shall obey his will. You must not marvel, Helen, at my course, which holds not color with the time, nor does the ministration and required office on my particular. Prepared I was not for such a business. Therefore am I found so much unsettled. This drives me to entreat you that presently you take your way for home, and rather muse than ask why I entreat you. For my respects are better than they seem, and my appointments have in them a need greater than shows itself at the first view to you that know them not. This to my mother. 'Twill be 2 days ere I shall see you, so I leave you to your wisdom.
Sir, I can say nothing but that I am your most obedient servant.
Come, no more of that.
And ever shall with true observance seek to eke out that which toward me my homely stars have failed to equal my great fortune.
Let that go. My haste is very great. Farewell. Hi home.
Pray, sir, your pardon?
Well, what would you say?
I am not worthy of the wealth I owe, ne'er dare I say 'tis mine, and yet it is. But like a timorous thief, most fain would steal what law does vouch mine own.
What would you have?
Something, and scarce so much. Nothing, indeed. I would not tell you what I would, my lord. Faith, yes. Strangers and foes part and do not kiss.
I pray you stay not, but in haste to horse.
I shall not break your bidding, good my lord. Where are my other men? Monsieur, farewell.
He exits.
Go thou toward home, where I will never come whilst I can shake my sword or hear the drum. Away, and for our flight.
Bravely. Coraggio.
They exit. End of Act 2. Act 3, Scene 1. A flourish. Enter the Duke of Florence, the 2 French lords, with a troop of soldiers.
So that from point to point now you have heard the fundamental reasons of this war, whose great decision hath much blood let forth and more thirsts after.
Holy seems the quarrel upon your grace's part, black and fearful upon the opposer.
Therefore we marvel much our cousin France would in so just a business shut his bosom against our borrowing prayers.
Good my lord, the reasons of our state I cannot yield, but like a common and an outward man, that the great figure of our council frames by self-unable motion, therefore dare not say what I think of it, since I have found myself in my uncertain grounds to fail as often as I guessed.
Be it his pleasure.
But I am sure the younger of our nation that surfeit on their ease will day by day come here for physic.
Welcome shall they be, and all the honors that can fly from us shall on them settle. You know your places well. When better fall, for your avails they fell. Tomorrow to the field.
A flourish, and they exit. Act 3, Scene 2. Enter the Countess with a paper and her fool.
It hath happened all as I would have had it, save that he comes not along with her.
By my troth, I take my young lord to be a very melancholy man.
By what observance, I pray you?
Why, he will look upon his boot and sing, mend the ruff and sing, ask questions and sing, pick his teeth and sing. I know a man that had this trick of melancholy sold a goodly manor for a song.
Let me see what he writes, and when he means to come.
I have no mind to Isbel since I was at court. Our oldlings and our Isbels of the country are nothing like your oldling and your Isbels of the court. The brains of my Cupid's knocked out, and I begin to love as an old man loves money, with no stomach.
What have we here?
In that you have there.
I have sent you a daughter-in-law. She hath recovered the king and undone me. I have wedded her, not bedded her, and sworn to make the not eternal. She'll hear I am run away. Know it before the report come. If there be breath enough in the world, I will hold a long distance. My duty to you, your unfortunate son, Bertram. This is not well, rash and unbridled boy, to fly the favors of so good a king, to pluck his indignation on thy head by the misprizing of a maid too virtuous for the contempt of empire.
Enter the fool.
Oh, madam, yonder is heavy news within, between two soldiers and my young lady.
What is the matter?
Nay, there is some comfort in the news, some comfort. Your son will not be killed so soon as I thought he would.
Why should he be killed?
So say I, madam, if he run away, as I hear he does. The danger isn't standing to it. That's the loss of men, though it be the getting of children. Here they come will tell you more. For my part, I only hear your son was run away.
He exits. Enter Helen with a paper and two gentlemen.
Save you, good madam.
Madam, my lord is gone. Forever gone.
Do not say so.
Think upon patience, pray you. Gentlemen, I have felt so many quirks of joy and grief that the first face of neither on the start can woman me unto it. Where is my son, I pray you?
Madam, he's gone to serve the Duke of Florence. We met him thitherward, for thence we came, and after some dispatch in hand at court, thither we bend again.
Look at this letter. Madam, here's my passport. When thou'st canst get the ring upon my finger, which never shall come off, and show me a child begotten of thy body that I am father to, then call me husband. But in such a then, I write a never. This is a dreadful sentence.
Brought you this letter, gentlemen?
Aye, madam, and for the content's sake are sorry for our pains.
I prithee, lady, have a better cheer. If thou engrossest all the griefs are thine, thou robb'st me of a moiety. He was my son, but I do wash his name out of my blood. Thou art all my child. Towards Florence, is he?
Aye, madam.
And to be a soldier?
Such is his noble purpose, and believe it, the Duke will lay upon him all the honor that good convenience claims.
Return you thither.
Aye, madam, with the swiftest wing of speed.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. 'Tis bitter.
Find you that there?
Aye, madam.
'Tis but the boldness of his hand, haply, which his heart was not consenting to.
Nothing in France till he have no wife. There's nothing here that is too good for him, but only she. And she deserves a lord that 20 such rude boys might tend upon and call her hourly mistress. Who was with him?
A servant only, and a gentleman which I have some time known.
Parolles, was it not?
Aye, good lady, he.
A very tainted fellow, full of wickedness. My son corrupts a well-derived nature with his inducement.
Indeed, good lady. The fellow has a deal of that too much, which holds him much to have.
You're welcome, gentlemen. I will entreat you, when you see my son, to tell him that his sword can never win the honor that he loses. More I'll entreat you written to bear along.
We serve you, madam, in that and all your worthiest affairs.
Not so, but as we change our courtesies. Will you draw near?
She exits with the gentleman.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. Nothing in France until he has no wife. Thou shalt have none, Resilient, none in France. Then hast thou all again. Poor Lord, is't I that chased thee from thy country and exposed those tender limbs of thine to the event of the nuns fair in war? And is it I that drive thee from the sportive court, where thou wast shot at with fair eyes to be the mark of smoky muskets? Oh, you leaden messengers that ride upon the violent speed of fire, fly with false aim, move the still peering air that sings with piercing. Do not touch my lord. Whoever shoots at him, I set him there. Whoever charges on his forward breast, I am the caitiff that do hold him to it. And though I kill him not, I am the cause his death was so affected. Better 'twere I met the raven lion where he roared with sharp constraint of hunger. Better 'twere that all the miseries which nature owes were mine at once. No, come thou home, Resilien, whence honour but of danger wins a scar, and oft it loses all. I will be gone. My being here, it is that holds thee hence. Shall I stay here to do it? No, no, although the air of paradise did fan the house and angel offered all. I will be gone, that pitiful rumour may report my flight to consolate thine ear. Come night, end day, for with the dark, poor thief, I'll steal away.
She exits. Act 3, Scene 3. A flourish. Enter the Duke of Florence, Bertram, drum and trumpets, soldiers, and Parolles.
The general of our horse thou art, and we, great in our hope, lay our best love and credence upon thy promising fortune.
Sir, it is a charge too heavy for my strength, but yet we'll strive to bear it for your worthy sake, to the extreme edge of hazard.
Then go thou forth, and fortune play upon thy prosperous helm as thy auspicious mistress.
This very day, great Mars, I put myself into thy file. Make me but like my thoughts, and I shall prove a lover of thy drum, hater of love.
All exit. Act 3, Scene 4. Enter the Countess and her steward with a paper.
Alas, and would you take the letter of her? Might you not know she would do as she had done, but sending me a letter? Read it again.
I am Saint Jacques Pilgrim thither gone. Ambitious love hath so in me offended that barefoot plod I the cold ground upon. With sainted vow my faults to have amended. Right that from the bloody course of war my dearest master, your dear son, may hie. Bless him at home in peace, whilst I from far his name with zealous fervor sanctify. His taken labors bid him me forgive. I, his despiteful Juno, sent him forth from courtly friends with camping foes to live, where death and danger dogs the heels of worth. He is too good and fair for death and me, whom I myself embrace, to set him free.
Oh, what sharp stings are in her mildest words. Rinaldo, you did never lack advice so much as letting her pass so. Had I spoke with her, I could have well diverted her intents, which thus she hath prevented.
Pardon me, madam. If I'd given you this at overnight, she might have been o'ertaken, and yet she writes pursue would be but vain.
What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? He cannot thrive unless her prayers, whom heaven delights to hear and loves to grant, reprieve him from the wrath of greatest justice. Write, write, Rinaldo, to this unworthy husband of his wife. Let every word weigh heavy of her worth, that he does weigh too light. My greatest grief, though little do he feel it, set down sharply. Dispatch the most convenient messenger. When haply he shall hear that she is gone, he will return, and hope I may that she, hearing so much, will speed her foot again, led hither by pure love. Which of them both is dearest to me? I have no skill in sense to make distinction. Provide this messenger. My heart is heavy, mine age is weak. Grief would have tears, and sorrow bids me speak.
They exit. Act 3, Scene 5. Enter a widow of Florence, her daughters Diana and Mariana, with other citizens.
Nay, come, for if they do approach the city, we shall lose all the sight.
They say the French count has done most honorable service.
It is reported that he has taken their greatest commander, and that with his own hand he slew the duke's brother.
Trumpet sound.
We have lost our labor. They are gone a contrary way. Hark, you may know by their trumpets.
Come, let's return again and suffice ourselves with the report of it. Well, Diana, take heed of this French earl. The honor of a maid is not in her name, nor no legacy is so rich as honesty.
I have told my neighbor how you have been solicited by a gentleman, his companion.
I know that knave. Hang him. One paroles, a filthy officer he is, in suggestion of the young earl. Beware of them, Diana. Their promises, enticements, tokens, oaths, all these engines of lust are not the things they go under. Many a maid have been seduced by them, and many a maid have been seduced by them. And the misery is example that so threaten, that so, God damn it. Hath seduced by them, and the misery is example that so terribly shows the wreck of maidenhood cannot for all dissuade succession. But they are limed with the twigs that threaten them. I hope I need not advise you further, but I hope your own grace keeps you where you are. There's no danger left further, but the modesty that is so lost.
You shall not need to fear me.
I hope so.
Enter Helen as a pilgrim.
Look, here comes a pilgrim. I know she will lie at my house. Thither they send one another. I'll question her. God save you, pilgrim. Whither are we bound?
To Saint Jacques le Grand. Where do the Palmers lodge? I do beseech you.
At the St. Francis here beside the port.
Is this the way?
Aye, Mary, 'tis. Hark you, they come this way. If you will tarry, holy pilgrim, but the troops come by, I will conduct you where you shall be lodged, the rather, for I think I know your hostess as ample as myself.
Is it yourself?
If you shall please so, pilgrim.
I thank you, and will stay upon your leisure.
You came, I think, from France?
I did so.
Here you shall see a countryman of yours that has done worthy service.
His name, I pray you?
The Count Rossillion. Know you such a one?
But by the ear that hears most nobly of him. His face I know not.
Whatsoe'er he is, he's bravely taken here. He stole from France, as 'tis reported, for the king had married him against his liking. Think you it is so?
I Surely, mere the truth. I know his lady.
There's a gentleman that serves the count, reports but coarsely of her.
What's his name?
Monsieur Parolles.
Oh, I believe with him, in argument of praise or to the worth of the great count himself, she is too mean to have her name repeated. All her deserving is a reservist honesty, and that I have not heard examined.
Alas, poor lady, 'tis a hard bondage to become the wife of a detesting lord.
I warrant, good creature, where'er she is, her heart weighs sadly. This young maid might do her a shrewd turn if she pleased.
How do you mean? Maybe the amorous count solicits her in the unlawful purpose?
He does indeed, and brokes with all that can in such a suit corrupt the tender honor of a maid. But she is armed for him and keeps her guard in honestest defense.
The gods forbid else.
Drum and colors. Enter Bertram, the Count of Roussillon, Parolles, and the whole army.
So, now they come. That is Antonio, the Duke's eldest son. That Aeschylus.
Which is the Frenchman?
He, that with the plume, 'tis a most gallant fellow. I would he loved his wife. If he were honester, he were much goodlier. Is not a handsome gentleman.
I like him well.
'Tis pity he is not honest. Yon's that same knave that leads him to these places. Were I his lady, I would poison that vile rascal.
Which is he?
That jackanapes with scarves. Why is he melancholy?
Perhaps he's hurt in the battle.
Lose a drum. Our drum. Well.
He is shrewdly vexed at something. Look, he has spied us.
Marry, hang you.
And your courtesy for a ring carrier.
Bertram, Parolles, and the army exit.
The troop is past. Come, pilgrim, I will bring you where you shall host. Of enjoined penitents, there's 4 or 5, to great St. Jacques bound, already at my house.
I humbly thank you. Please it this matron and this gentle maid to eat with us tonight. The charge and thanking shall be for me. And to requite you further, I will bestow some precepts of this virgin worthy of note.
We'll take your offer kindly.
They exit. Act 3, Scene 6. Enter Bertram, Count of Roussillon, and the French lords.
Nay, my good lord, put him to it. Let him have his way.
If your lordship find him not a hiding, hold me no more in your respect.
On my life, my lord, a bubble.
Do you think I am so far deceived in him?
Believe it, my lord, in mine own direct knowledge, without any malice, but to speak of him as my kinsman. He's a most notable coward, an infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise breaker, the owner of no one good quality worthy of your lordship's entertainment.
It were fit you knew him, lest reposing too far in his virtue, which he hath not, he might at some great and trusty business in the main danger fail you.
I would I knew in what particular action to try him.
None better than to let him fetch off his drum, which you hear him so confidently undertake to do.
I, with a troop of Florentines, will suddenly surprise him. Such I will have, who I'm sure he knows not from the enemy. We will bind and hoodwink him so, that he shall suppose no other but that he is carried into the leaguer of his adversaries, when we bring him to our own tents. Be but your lordship present at his examination. If he do not, for the promise of his life, and in the highest compulsion of base fear, offer to betray you, and my script has just blanked. One moment. Second device, second device, second device.
I'm liking the plan so far.
Let me
This is
think on it a
making
moment
sense to
more, my
me.
lord.
Sure, well, it's pretty detailed. You should take your time.
It absolutely is. It absolutely
We don't want to mess this up.
Aha,
So,
here we are.
all right. What's
If
the
you do
idea?
not, for the promise of his life, and in the highest compulsion of base fear, offer to betray you and deliver all the intelligence in his power against you, and that with the divine forfeit of his soul upon earth, never trust my judgment in anything.
Oh, for the love of laughter, let him fetch his drum. He says he has a stratagem for it. When your lordship sees the bottom of his success in it, and to what metal this counterfeiting lump of ore will be melted, if you give him not John's drums, entertainment, your inclining cannot be removed. Here he comes.
Enter Parolles.
Oh, for the love of laughter, hinder not the honor of his design. Let him fetch off his drum in any hand.
How now, monsieur? This drum sticks sorely in your disposition. This drum sticks sorely in your disposition.
A pox on it. Let it go. 'Tis but a drum.
But a drum? Is it but a drum? A drum so lost? There was excellent command to charge in with our horse upon our own wings and rend our own soldiers.
That was not to be blamed in the command of the service. It was a disaster of war that Caesar himself could not have prevented if he had been there to command.
Well, we cannot greatly condemn our success. Some dishonor we had in the loss of that drum, but it is not to be recovered.
It might have been recovered.
It might, but it is not now.
It is to be recovered, but that the merit of service is seldom attributed to the true and exact performer. I would have that drum or another, or hit jacket.
Why, if you have the stomach to it, monsieur, if you think your mystery and stratagem can bring this instrument of honor again into his native quarter, be magnanimous in the enterprise and go on. I will grace the attempt for a worthy exploit. If you speed well in it, the Duke shall both speak of it and extend to you what further becomes his greatness, even to the utmost syllable of your worthiness.
By the hand of a soldier, I will undertake it.
But you must not now slumber in it.
All about it this evening. And I will presently pen down my dilemmas, encourage myself in the certainty, put myself into the mortal preparation, and by midnight look to hear further from me.
May I be bold to acquaint his grace you are gone about it?
I know not what the success will be, my lord, but the attempt, I vow.
I know thou art valiant, and to the possibility of thy soldiership will subscribe for thee. Farewell.
I love not many words.
He exits.
No more than a fish loves water. Is not this a strange fellow, my lord, that so confidently seems to undertake this business which he knows is not to be done, damns himself to do, and dares better be damned than to do it?
You do not know him, my lord, as we do. Certain it is that he will steel himself into a man's favor, and for a week escape a great deal of discoveries. But when you find him out, you have him ever after.
Oh, is that me? That's me.
Do you
Why?
not have an opinion?
Why? No, I don't. I have no opinion. Why do you think he will make no deed at all of that, at all of this, that so seriously he does address himself unto?
None in the world, but return with an invention and clap upon you 2 or 3 probable lies. But we have almost lost him. You shall see his fall tonight, for indeed he is not for your lordship's respect.
We'll make you some sport with the fox ere we case him. He was first smoked by the old Lord Lefew. When his disguise and he is parted, tell me what a sprat you shall find him, which you shall see this very night.
I must go look my twigs. He shall be caught.
Your brother, he shall go along with me.
As please your lordship. I'll leave you.
He exits.
Now will I lead you to the house and show you the lass I spoke of.
But you say she's honest.
That's all the fault. I spoke with her but once and found her wondrous cold. But I sent to her, by this same coxcomb that we did have the wind, tokens and letters which she did resend. And this is all I have done. She is a fair creature. Will you go see her?
With all my heart, my lord.
They exit. Act 3, Scene 7. Enter Helen and the widow.
If you misdoubt me that if you misdoubt me that I am not she, I know not how I shall assure you further, but I shall lose the grounds I work upon.
Though my estate be fallen, I was well born, nothing acquainted with these businesses, and would not put my reputation now in any staining act.
Nor would I wish you. First, give me trust the Count he is my husband, and what to your sworn counsel I have spoken is so from word to word, and then you cannot, by the good aid that I of you shall borrow, err in bestowing it.
I should believe you, for you have showed me that which well approves your great infortune.
Take this purse of gold, and let me buy your friendly help thus far, which I will overpay and pay again when I have found it. The Count, he woos your daughter, lays down his wanton siege before her beauty, resolved to carry her. Let her in fine consent, as will direct her how the best to bear it. Now, his important blood will naught deny that she'll demand. A ring the county wears that Downworth hath succeeded in his house from son to son, some 4 or 5 descents since the first father wore it. This ring he holds in most rich choice, yet in his idle fire to buy his will it would not seem too dear, howe'er repented after.
Now I see the bottom of your purpose.
You see it lawful, then. It is no more but that your daughter, ere she seems as one, desires this ring, appoints him an encounter, in fine, delivers me, fill the time, herself most chastely absent. After, to marry her, I'll add 3,000 crowns to what is past already.
I have yielded. Instruct my daughter how she shall persevere. That time and place with this deceit so lawful may prove coherent. Every night he comes with musics of all sorts and songs composed to her unworthiness. If it nothing steeds us to chide him from our eaves, for he persists as if his life lay on't.
Why then tonight let us essay our plot, which, if it speed, is wicked meaning in a lawful deed, and lawful meaning in a lawful act, where both not sin and yet a sinful fact. But let's be about it.
They exit. End of Act 3. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter one of the French lords with 5 or 6 other soldiers in ambush.
He can come no other way but by this hedge corner. When you sally upon him, speak what terrible language you will. Though you understand it not yourselves, no matter. For we must not seem to understand him, unless one among us whom we must produce for an interpreter.
Good captain, let me be the interpreter.
Art not acquainted with him? Knows he not thy voice?
No, sir, I warrant you.
But what linsey-woolsey hast thou to speak to us again?
E'en such as you speak to me.
He must think us some band of strangers in the adversary's entertainment. Now he hath a smack of all neighboring languages. Therefore, we must every one be a man of his own fancy, not to know what we speak to one another. So we seem to know is to know straight our purpose. Choff's language, gabble enough and good enough. As for you, interpreter, you must seem very politic. But in couch, ho, here he comes to beguile 2 hours in his sleep and then to return and swear the lies he forges.
They move aside as Parolus enters.
10 o'clock. Within 3 hours' time, it will be time enough to go home. What shall I have done? It must be very plausible invention that carries it. They begin to smoke me, and disgraces have of late knocked too often at my door. I find my tongue is too foolhardy. But my heart hath the fear of Mars before it, and of his creatures not daring the reports of my tongue.
This is the first truth that e'er thine own tongue was guilty of.
What the devil should move me to undertake the recovery of this drum? Being not ignorant of the impossibility of knowing I have no such purpose. I must give myself some hurts and say I got them an exploit. The slight ones will not carry it. They will say, came you up with so little? What great ones? I did not. Wherefore? What's the instance? Tongue, I must put you into a butter woman's mouth and buy myself another Bagis's mule if you prattle on me into these perils.
Is it possible he should know what he is and be that he is?
I would the cutting of my garments serve the term, or the breaking of my Spanish sword.
We cannot afford you so.
Or the bearing of my beard. To say it was it was a stratagem.
Twould not do.
Or to drown my clothes and say I was stripped.
Hardly serve.
Though I swore I leapt from the window of the citadel.
How deep?
30 fathoms.
3 great oaths would scarce make that be believed.
Would I had any drum of the enemies. I would swear I recovered it.
You shall hear one anon.
A drum. A drum. Now of the enemies.
Throka, Mavussus, cargo, cargo, cargo. Cargo, 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 Vilando, par corbo, cargo.
He sees him.
Oh, ransom, ransom. Oh, do not hide mine eyes.
They blindfold him.
Boscos, Tormuldo, Boscos.
I know you are the Muscos regiment, and I shall lose my life for want of language. If there be here German or Dane, Low Dutch, Italian or French, oh, let him speak to me. I'll discover that which I shall undo the Florentine.
Boscos Vavodo. I understand thee and can speak thy tongue. Carbonto. Sir, betake thee to thy faith, for 17 poniards are at thy bosom. Oh, pray, pray, pray. Mancarevania dolce.
Or scorbidculos folicro.
The general is content to spare thee yet, and hoodwinked as thou art, will lead thee on to gather from thee. Haply thou mayest inform something to save thy life.
Oh, let me live. And all the secrets of our camp I'll show. Of their force, their purposes, nay, I'll speak that, which you will wonder at.
But wilt thou faithfully?
Oh, if I do not damn me.
Accordo di nata. Come on, thou art granted space.
Exits with Parolus under guard.
Go tell the Count Rossilian and my brother we have caught the woodcock and will keep him muffled till we do hear from them.
Captain, I will.
He will betray us all unto ourselves. Inform him on that.
So I will, sir.
Till then, I'll keep him dark and safely locked.
They exit. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Bertram and the maid called Diana.
They told me that your name was Fontabelle,
No, my good lord, Diana.
titled goddess, and worth it with addition. But, fair soul, in your fine frame hath love no quality? If the quick fire of youth light not your mind, you are no maiden, but a monument. When you are dead, you should be such a one as you are now, for you are stern and cold. And now you should be as your mother was when your sweet self was got.
She then was honest.
So should you be.
No, my mother did but duty, such, my lord, as you owe to your wife.
No more of that. I prithee, do not strive against my vows. I was compelled to her, but I love thee by love's own sweet constraint, and will forever do thee all rights of service.
Aye, so you serve us till we serve you. But when you have our roses, you barely leave our thorns to prick ourselves and mock us with our barrenness.
How have I sworn?
'Tis not the many oaths that make the truth, but the plain single vow that is vowed true. What is not holy that we swear not by, but take the highest to witness? Then pray you tell me, if I should swear by Job's great attributes, I loved you dearly, would you believe my oaths when I did love you ill? This has no holding to swear by him whom I protest to love, that I will work against him. Therefore your oaths are words and poor conditions, but unsealed, at least in my opinion.
Change it! Change it! Be not so wholly cruel. Love is holy, and my integrity ne'er knew the crafts that you do charge men with. Stand no more off, but give thyself unto my sick desires, who then recovers. Say thou art mine, and ever my love as it begins shall so persever.
I see that men may rope in such a snare that will forsake ourselves. Give me that ring.
I'll lend it thee, my dear, but have no power to give it from me.
Will you not, my lord?
It is an honor longing to our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy of the world in me to lose.
Mine honors such a ring. My chastity's the jewel of our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world, in me to lose. Thus your own proper wisdom brings in the champion honor on my part against your vain assault.
Here, take my ring. My house, mine honor, yea, my life be thine, and I'll be bid by thee.
When midnight comes, knock at my chamber window. I'll order take my mother shall not hear. Now will I charge you in the band of truth, when you have conquered yet my maiden bed. Remain there but an hour, nor speak to me. My reasons are most strong, and you shall know them, when back again this ring shall be delivered. And on your finger in the night I'll put another ring, that which in time proceeds may token to the future of our past deeds. Adieu. Till then fail not. You have won a wife of me, though there my hope be done.
A heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee.
For which live long to thank both heaven and me. You may so in the end.
He exits.
My mother told me just how he would woo, as if she sat in his heart. She says all men have like oaths. He had sworn to marry me when his wife's dead. Therefore I'll lie with him when I am buried. Since Frenchmen are so brave, marry that I will. I live and die a maid. Only in this disguise I think's no sin to cozen him that would unjustly win.
She exits. Act 4, Scene 3. Enter the 2 French lords and some 2 or 3 soldiers.
You have not given him his mother's letter?
I have delivered it an hour since. There is something in it that stings his nature, for on the reading it he changed almost into another man.
He has much worthy blame laid upon him for shaking off so good a wife and so sweet a lady.
Especially he hath incurred the everlasting displeasure of the king, who had even turned his bounty to sing happiness to him. I will tell you a thing, but you shall let it dwell darkly with you.
When you have spoken it, 'tis dead, and I am the grave of it.
He hath prevented a young gentlewoman here in Florence of a most chaste renown, perverted even, and this night he fleshes his will in the spoil of her honor. He hath given her his monumental ring, and thinks himself made the unchaste composition.
Now, God delay our rebellion. As we are ourselves, what things are we?
Merely our own traitors, and as in the common course of all treasons, we still see them reveal themselves till they attain to their abhorred ends. So he that in this action contrives against his own nobility, in his proper stream o'erflows himself.
Is it not meant damnable in us to be trumpeters of our unlawful intents? We shall not, then, have his company tonight.
Not till after midnight, for he is dieted to his hour.
That approaches apace. I would gladly have him see his company anatomized, that he might take a measure of his own judgments, wherein so curiously he had set this counterfeit.
We will not meddle with him till he come, for his presence must be the whip of the other.
In the meantime, what hear you of these wars?
I hear there is an overture of peace.
Nay, I assure you, a peace concluded.
What will Count Rosilian do then? Will he travel higher or return again to France?
I perceive by this demand you are not altogether of his counsel.
Let it be forbid, sir. So should I be a great deal of his act.
Sir, his wife some 2 months since fled from his house. Her pretence is a pilgrimage to St. Jacques-le-Grand, which holy undertaking with most austere sanctimony she accomplished. And there residing, the tenderness of her nature became as a prey to her grief. In fine, made a groan of her last breath, and now she sings in heaven.
How is this justified?
The stronger part of it by her own letters, which makes her story true even to the point of her death. Her death itself, which could not be her office to say is come, was faithfully confirmed by the rector of the place.
Hath the Count all this intelligence?
Aye, and the particular confirmations point from point to the full arming of the verity.
I am heartily sorry that he'll be glad of this.
How mightily sometimes we make us comforts of our losses.
And how mightily some other times we drown our gain in tears. The great dignity that his valor hath here acquired for him shall at home be encountered with a shame as ample.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. Our virtues would be proud if our faults whipped them not, and our crimes would despair if they were not cherished by our virtues.
Enter a servant.
How now? Where's your master?
He met the Duke in the street, sir, of whom he hath taken a solemn leave. His lordship will next morning for France. The Duke hath offered him letters of commendations to the king.
They shall be no more than needful there, if they were more than they can commend. They cannot be too sweet for the king's tartness. Here's his lordship now. How now, my lord? Is it not after midnight?
I have tonight dispatched 16 businesses, a month's length apiece. By an abstract of success, I have congeed with the Duke, done my adieu with his nearest, buried a wife, mourned for her, writ to my lady mother I am returning, entertained my convoy, and between these main parcels of dispatch effected many nicer needs. The last was the greatest, but that I have not ended yet.
If the business be of any difficulty, and this morning your departure hence, it requires haste of your lordship.
I mean, the business is not ended as fearing to hear of it hereafter. But shall we have this dialogue between the fool and the soldier? Come, bring forth this counterfeit module. Has deceived me like a double-meaning prophesizer.
Bring him
Prophesier.
forth. Bring him forth. Has sat in the stocks all night, poor gallant knave.
No matter. His heels have deserved it in usurping his spurs so long. How does he carry himself?
I have told your lordship already, the stocks carry him. But to answer you as you would be understood, he weeps like a wench that had shed her milk. He hath confessed himself to Morgan, whom he supposes to be a friar, from the time of his remembrance to this very instant disaster of his setting in the stocks. And what think you he hath confessed?
Nothing of me, has he?
His confession is taken, and it shall be read to his face. If your lordship be in it, as I believe you are, you must have the patience to hear it.
Enter Parolus, blindfolded, with his interpreter, the first soul.
A plague upon him! Muffled. He could say nothing of me.
Hush, hush. Hoodman comes. Porto Tartarosa.
Calls for the torturers. What will you say without him?
No, without constraints. You pinch me like a pasty. I can say no more.
Bosco Chimurco.
Boblibindo Chimorto. Chimilpomoko.
You are a merciful general. Our general bids you answer to what I shall ask you out of a note.
And truly, I hope to live.
First, demand of him how many horse the Duke is strong. What say you to that?
5,000 or 6,000, but very weak and unserviceable. The troops are all scattered, and the commander's very poor rogues upon my reputation and credit as I hope to live.
Shall I set down your answer so?
Do. I'll take the sacrament on it. How and which way you will.
All's one to him. What a past-saving slave is this?
You're deceived, my lord. This is Monsieur Parolles, the gallant militarist, that was his own phrase, that had the whole theoric of war in the knot of his scarf, and practice in the chape of his dagger.
I will never trust a man again for keeping his sword clean, nor believe he can have everything in him by wearing his apparel neatly.
Well, that's set down.
5,000 or 6,000 horse, I said. I will say true. Or thereabouts. Set down. For I speak truth.
He's very near the truth in this.
But I con him no thanks for it in the nature he delivers it.
4 rogues, I pray you say.
Well, that's set down.
I humbly thank you, sir. A truth's a truth. The rogues are marvelous poor.
Demand of him of what strength they are afoot. What say you to that?
By my troth, sir, if I were to live but this present hour, I will tell true. Oh, let me see. Spurio, 150. Sebastian, so many. Carambus, so many. Jock, so many. Giltian, Cosmo, Lodowick, Ingratier, 250 each. Mine own company, Christopher, Valmont, Bentier, 250 each. So that mustard file, rhyme and sound, upon my life amounts not to 15,000, Paul, half of which dare not shake the snow from their cassocks lest they shake themselves to pieces.
What shall be done to him?
Nothing but let him have thanks. Demand of him my condition, and what credit I have with the Duke.
Well, that's set down. You shall demand of him whether one Captain Domain be the camp, a Frenchman, what his reputation is with the Duke, what his valor, honesty, and expertness in wars, or whether he thinks it were not possible with well-weighing sums of gold to corrupt him to a revolt. What say you to that? This? What do you know of it?
you let me answer to the particulars of the interrogatories demand them legally.
Do you know this Captain Dumaine?
I know him. He was a botched apprentice in Paris, from whence he was whipped for getting the Shreve's fool with child. Ugh, a dumb innocent that could not say him nay.
Nay, by your leave, hold your hands, though I know his brains are forfeit to the next tile that falls.
Well, is this captain in the Duke of Florence's camp?
Upon my knowledge, he is, and lousy.
Nay, look not so upon me. We shall hear of your lordship anon.
What is his reputation with the Duke?
The Duke knows him for no other but a poor officer of mine, and writ to me this other day to turn him out of the band. I think I have his letter in my pocket.
Mary will search.
They search his pocket.
No, in good sadness, I do not know. Either it is there, or it is a file, as upon a file with the Duke's other letters in my tent.
Here it is. Here's a paper. Shall I read it to you?
I do not know if it be it or no.
Our interpreter does it well.
Excellently.
Diane, the Count's a fool and full of gold.
No, that's not the Duke's letter, sir. That is an advertisement to a proper maid in Florence, one Diana, to take heed of the allurement of one Count Rossillon. Oh, foolish idle boy, for all the very ruddish. I pray you, sir, put it in again.
Hey, I'll read it first, by your favor.
My meaning in it, I protest, was very honest in behalf of the maid, for I knew the young Count to be dangerous and lascivious of a boy who is a whale to virginity and devours up all the fry and fines.
Damnable both sides rogue.
When he swears oaths, bid him drop gold and take it. After he scores, he never pays the score. Half won is match well made, match and well and make it. He ne'er pays after debts, take it before, and say a soldier, Diane told thee this. Men are to mell with, boys are not to kiss. For count of this, the Count's a fool, I know it, who pays before, but not when he does owe it. Thine, as he vowed to thee in thine ear. Parolles.
He shall be whipped through the army with this rhyme in his forehead.
This is your devoted friend, sir, the manifold linguist, the omnipotent soldier.
I could endure anything before but a cat, and now he's a cat to me.
I perceive, sir, by our general's looks we shall be fain to hang you.
Sir, in any case, not that I'm afraid to die, but that my offenses being many, I would repent out the remainder of nature. I mean, just let me live, sir, in the dungeons and the stocks, or anywhere so I may live.
We'll see what may be done, so you confess freely. Therefore, once more to this Captain Dumaine, you have answered to his reputation with the Duke and to his valor. What is his honesty?
He will steal, sir, an egg out of a cloister. For rapes and ravishments, he parallels Nessus. He professes not keeping of oaths. In breaking them, he is stronger than Hercules. He will lie, sir, with such volubility that you would think truth were a fool. Drunkenness is his best virtue, for he will be swine drunk. And in his sleep, he does little harm, save to the bedclothes about him. Oh, but they know his conditions and lay him in straw. I have but little more to say, sir, of his honesty. He has everything that an honest man should not have. What an honest man should have, he has nothing.
I begin to love him for this.
For this description of thine honesty, a pox upon him. For me, he's more and more a cat.
What say you to his expertness in war?
Faith, sir, has led the drum before the English tragedians. But to belie him I will not, and more of his soldiership I know not, except that in that country he had the honor to be the officer at a place there called Mile End to instruct for the doubling of files. I would do the man what honor I can, but of this, I am not certain.
He hath outvillained villainy so far that the rarity redeems him.
A pox on him. He's a cat still.
His qualities being at this poor price, I need not ask you if gold will corrupt him to revolt.
Sir, for a Cardasu, he will sell the fee simple of his salvation, the inheritance of it, and cut the entail from all remainders, and a perpetual succession forward in perpetuality.
What's his brother, the other captain, demand?
Why does he ask him of me?
What's he?
In a crow of the same nest. Not altogether so great as the first in goodness, but greater a great deal in evil. He excels his brother for a coward, yet his brother is reputed one of the best that is. In retreat, he outruns any lackey. Marry, and coming on, he has the cramp.
If your life be saved, will you undertake to betray the Florentine?
Aye, and the captain of his horse, Count Lucilian.
I'll whisper with the general and know his pleasure.
No more drumming. A plague of all drums. Only to seem to deserve well and to beguile the supposition that lascivious young boy, the Count, have I run into this danger. Yet who would have expected an ambush where I was taken?
There is no remedy, sir, but you must die. The general says that you have so traitorously discovered the secrets of your army and made such pestiferous reports of men very nobly held can serve the world for no honest use. Therefore, you must die. Come, headsman, off with his head.
Oh, let me see my death.
That you shall, and take your leave of all your friends. So, look about you. Know you any here?
I've missed that one. Good morrow, noble captain.
God bless you, Captain Parolles.
God save you, noble captain.
Captain, what greeting will you to my Lord Lefeu? I am for France.
Good captain, will you give me a copy of that sonnet you've writ to Diana on behalf of the Count Rossillon? And I were not a very coward, I would compel it of you. But fare you well.
Bertram and the lords exit.
You are undone, Captain. All but your scarf, that has a knot on it yet.
Who cannot be crushed by a plot?
If you could find out a country where but women were that had received so much shame, you might begin an impudent nation. Fare you well, sir. I am for France too. We shall speak of you there.
He exits.
Yet I am thankful. My heart for grace would burst at all of this. Captain, I'll be no more, but I will eat and drink and sleep as soft as Captain shall. Simply the thing all I am shall make me live. Who knows himself a braggart? Let him fear this, for it will come to pass that every braggart shall be found in ass, rust, sword, cool blushness, and Parolles live safest in shame, being fooled by foolery thrive. There's place and means for every man alive. I'll out to them.
He exits. Act 4, Scene 4. Enter Helen, the widow, and Diana.
That you may well perceive that I have not wronged you. One of the greatest in the Christian world shall be my surety, for whose throne 'tis needful, ere I can perfect mine intents, to kneel. Time was, I did him a desired office, dear almost as his life, which gratitude through flinty Tartar's bosom would peep forth and answer thanks. I duly am informed his grace is at Marseille, to which place we have convenient convey. You must know I am supposed dead. The army breaking, my husband hies him home, where, heaven aiding, and by the leave of my good lord the king, will be before our welcome.
Gentle madam, you never had a servant to whose trust your business was more welcome.
Nor you, mistress, ever a friend whose thoughts more truly labour to recompense your love. Doubt not but heaven hath brought me up to be your daughter's dower, and it hath fated her to be my motive and helper to a husband. But oh, strange men, that can such sweet use make of what they hate, when saucy trusting of the cozened thoughts defiles the pitchy night. So lust doth play with what it loathes for that which is away. But more of this hereafter. You, Diana, under my poor instructions, yet must suffer something in my behalf.
Let death and honesty go with your impositions. I am yours upon your will to suffer.
Yet I pray you, but with the word, the time will bring on summer, when briars shall have leaves as well as thorns, and be as sweet as sharp. We must away. Our wagon is prepared, and time revives us. All's well that ends well. Still finds the crown. Whate'er the course, the end is the renown.
They exit. Act 4, Scene 5. Enter the Fool, the Countess, and Lafew.
No, no, no. Your son was misled with a sniped taffeta fellow there, whose villainous saffron would have made all the unbaked and doughy youth of a nation in his colour. Your daughter-in-law had been alive at this hour, and your son here at home, more advanced by the king than by that red-tailed humblebee I speak of.
I would I had not known him. It was the death of the most virtuous gentlewoman that ever nature had praise for creating. If she had partaken of my flesh and cost me the dearest groans of a mother, I could not have owed her a more rooted love.
'Twas a good lady, 'twas a good lady. We may pick 1,000 salads ere we light on such another herb.
Indeed, sir, she was the sweet marjoram of the salad, or rather the herb of grace.
They are not herbs, you knave. They are nose herbs.
I am no great Nebuchadnezzar, sir. I have not much skill in grass.
Whether dost thou profess thyself a knave or a fool?
A fool, sir, at woman's service, and a knave at a man's.
Your distinction?
I would cozen the man of his wife and do his service.
So you were a knave at his service indeed.
And I would give his wife my bauble, sir, to do her service.
I will subscribe for thee. Thou art both knave and fool.
At your service.
No, no, no.
Why, sir, if I cannot serve you, I can serve as great a prince as you are.
Who's that, a Frenchman?
Faith, sir, he has an English name, but his physiognomy is more hotter in France than here.
What prince is that?
The Black Prince, sir, alias the Prince of Darkness, alias the Devil.
Hold thee. There's my purse. I give thee not this to suggest thee from thy master thou talk'st of. Serve him still.
I am a woodland fellow, sir, that always loved a great fire, and the master I speak of ever keeps a good fire. But sure he is the prince of the world, let his nobility remain his court. I am for the house with the narrow gate, which I take to be too little for pomp to enter. Some that humble themselves may, but the many will be too chill and tender, and they'll be for the flowery way that leads to the broad gate and the great fire.
Go thy ways. I begin to be wary of thee, and I tell thee so before because I would not fall out with thee. Go thy ways. Let my horses be well looked to, without any tricks.
If I put any tricks upon them, sir, they shall be the jade tricks, which are their own right by the law of nature.
Exits.
A shrewd knave and an unhappy.
So he is. My lord that's gone made himself much sport out of him. By his authority he remains here, which he thinks is a patent for his sauciness. Indeed, he has no pace, but runs where he will.
I like him well, 'tis not amiss, and I was about to tell you, since I heard of the good lady's death, and that my lord your son was upon his return home, I move the king, my master, to speak in the behalf of my daughter, which in the minority of them both his majesty out of self-gracious remembrance did first propose. His highness hath promised me to do it, and to stop up the displeasure he hath conceived against your son there is no fitter matter. How does your ladyship like it?
With very much content, my lord, and I wish it happily effected.
His highness comes post from Marseille of as able-bodied as when he numbered 30. He will be here tomorrow, or I am deceived by him that in such intelligence hath seldom failed.
It rejoices me that I hope I shall see him ere I die. I have letters that my son will be here tonight. I shall beseech your lordship to remain with me till they meet together.
Madam, I was thinking with what manners I might safely be admitted.
You need but plead your honorable privilege.
Lady, of that I have made a bold charter, but I thank my God it holds yet.
Enter the fool.
Oh, madam, yonder's my lord your son with a patch of velvet on his face. Whether there be a scar under it or no, the velvet knows, but 'tis a goodly patch of velvet. His left cheek is a cheek of 2 pile and a half, but his right cheek is worn bare.
A scar nobly got, or a noble scar, is a good livery of honor, so belike is that.
But it is your carbonadoed face.
Let us go see your son, I pray you. I long to talk with the young noble soldier.
Faith, there's a dozen of 'em with delicate fine hats and most courteous feathers which bow the head and nod at every man.
They exit. End of Act 4. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Helen, the widow, and Diana with 2 attendants.
But this exceeding posting day and night must wear your spirits low. We cannot help it. But since you have made the days and nights as one to wear your gentle limbs in my affairs, be bold, you do so grow in my requital as nothing can outroot you.
Enter a gentleman, a gentle stranger.
In happy time, this man may help me to his majesty's ear if he would spend his power. God save you, sir.
And you?
Sir, I have seen you in the court of France.
I have been some time there.
I do presume, sir, that you are not fallen from the report that goes upon your goodness, and therefore, goaded with the most sharp occasions which lay nice manners by, I put you to the use of your own virtues, for the which I shall continue thankful.
What's your will?
That it will please you to give this poor petition to the king and aid me with that store of power you have to come into his presence.
The king's not here.
Not here, sir.
Not indeed. He hence removed last night and will more haste than in his use.
All's well that ends well yet. Though time seems so adverse and means unfit, I do beseech you, whither is he gone?
Mary might take it to Roussillon, whither I am going.
I do beseech you, sir, since you are like to see the king before me, command the paper to his gracious hand, which I presume shall render you no blame, but rather make you thank your pains for it. I will come after you with what good speed our means will make us means.
This I'll do for you.
And you shall find yourself to be well thanked, whate'er falls more. We muster horse again. Go, go, provide.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 2. Enter the fool and Parolles.
Good monsieur, good monsieur Lavache, give my lord the few this letter. I have ere now, sir, been better known to you when I have held familiarity with fresher clothes, but I am now, sir, muddied in fortune's mood and smell somewhat strong of her strong displeasures.
Truly, fortune's displeasure is but sluttish if it smells so strongly as thou speak'st of. I will henceforth eat no fish of fortune's buttering. Prithee, allow the wind.
Nay, you need not to stop your nose, sir. I spake but by a metaphor.
Indeed, sir, if your metaphor stink, I will stop my nose, or against any man's metaphor. Prithee, get thee further.
Pray you, sir, deliver me this paper.
Oh, prithee, stand away. A paper from fortune's closed stool to give to a nobleman. Ugh.
Enter Lefew.
Look, here he comes himself. Here is but a purr of fortune, sir, or a fortune's cat, but not a musk cat that has fallen into the uncleaned fish pond of her displeasure, and as he says, is muddied withal. Pray you, sir, use the carp as you may, for he looks like a poor decayed, ingenious, foolish, rascally knave. I do pity his distress and my smiles of comfort, and leave him to your lordship.
He exits.
My lord, I am a man whom fortune hath cruelly scratched.
And what would you have me to do? 'Tis too late to pare her nails now. Wherein have you played the knave with fortune, that she should scratch you, who of herself is a good lady, and would not have knaves thrive long under her? There's a courtesy for you. Let the justices make you and fortune friends. I am for other business.
I beseech your honor to hear me one single word.
You beg a single penny more. Come, you shall have it. Save your word.
My name, my good lord, is Parolus.
You beg more than a word then. Cox my passion. Give me your hand. How does your drum?
Oh, my good lord, you were the first that found me.
Was I? In sooth? And I was the first that lost thee.
It lies in you, my lord, to bring me in some grace. For you did bring me out.
Out upon thee, knave! Dost thou put upon me at once both the office of God and the devil? One brings thee in grace, and the other brings thee out. The king's coming. I know by his trumpets. Sirrah, inquire further after me. I had talk of you last night. Though you are a fool and a knave, you shall eat. Go to, follow.
Oh, I praise God for you.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 3. A flourish. Enter the king, the countess, Lefew, the two French lords, and attendants.
We lost a jewel of her, and our esteem was made much poorer by it. But your son, as mad in folly, lacked the sense to know her estimation home.
'Tis past, my liege, and I beseech your majesty to make it natural rebellion done in the blade of youth, when oil and fire, too strong for reason's force, or bears it and burns on.
My honored lady, I have forgiven and forgotten all, though my revenges were high bent upon him, and watched the time to shoot.
This I must say. But first I beg my pardon. The young lord did to his majesty, his mother, and his lady offence of mighty note, but to himself the greatest wrong of all. He lost a wife whose beauty did astonish the survey of richest eyes, whose words all ears took captive, whose dear perfection hearts that scorn to serve humbly called mistress.
Praising what is lost makes the remembrance dear. Well, call him hither. We are reconciled, and the first view shall kill all repetition. Let him not ask our pardon. The nature of his great offense is dead, and deeper than oblivion we do bury the incensing relics of it. Let him approach a stranger, no offender, and inform him, so 'tis our will he should.
I shall, my liege.
He exits.
What says he to your daughter? Have you spoke?
All that he is hath reference to your highness.
Then shall we have a match. I have letters sent me that sets him high in fame.
Enter Count Bertram.
He looks well on it.
I'm not a day of season, for thou mayst see a sunshine and a hail in me at once. But to the brightest beams distracted clouds give way. So stand thou forth, the time is fair again.
My high repented blames, dear sovereign, pardon me.
All is whole. Not one word more of the consumed time. Let's take the instant by the forward top, for we are old, and on our quickest decrees the inaudible and noiseless foot of time steals ere we can effect them. You remember the daughter of this lord?
Admiringly, my liege. At first, I stuck my choice upon her, ere my heart durst make too bold a herald of my tongue, where the impression of mine eye in fixing contempt his scornful perspective did lend me, which warped the line of every other favor, scorned a fair color or expressed its stolen, extended or contracted all proportions to a most hideous object. Thence it came that she whom all men praise and whom myself, since I have lost, have loved, was in mine eye the dust that did offend it.
Well excused. That thou didst love her strikes some scores away from the great count. But love that comes too late, like a remorseful pardon slowly carried to the great sender, turns a sour offense, crying, "That's good, that's gone." Our rash faults make trivial price of serious things we have, not knowing them until we know their grave. Oft our displeasures, to ourselves unjust, destroy our friends, and after weep their dust. Our own love, waking, cries to see what's done, while shameful hate sleeps out the afternoon. Be this sweet Helen's knell, and now forget her. Send forth your amorous token for fair Magdalen. The main consents are had, and here we'll stay to see our widower's second marriage day.
Which better than the first, O dear heaven, bless, or ere they meet in me, O nature cease.
Come on, my son, in whom my house's name must be digested. Give a favor from you to sparkle in the spirits of my daughter, that she may quickly come.
Bertram gives him a ring.
By my old beard, and every hair that's on't, Helen that's dead was a sweet creature. Such a ring as this, the last that ere I took her leave at court, I saw upon her finger.
Hers it was not.
Now, pray you, let me see it, for mine eye, while I was speaking, oft was fastened to it.
Passes the king to the ring.
This ring was mine. And when I gave it Helen, I bade her, if her fortunes ever stood necessitated to help, that by this token I would relieve her. Had you that craft to relieve her of what should stead her most?
My gracious sovereign, however it pleased you to take it so, the ring was never hers.
Son, on my life, I have seen her wear it, and she reckoned it at her life's rate.
I am sure I saw her wear it.
You are deceived, my lord. She never saw it. In Florence, was it from a casement thrown me, wrapped in a paper which contained the name of her that threw it. Noble she was, and thought I stood ungagged, but when I had subscribed to mine own fortune and informed her fully, I could not answer in that course of honor. As she had made the overture, she ceased in heavy satisfaction and would never receive the ring again.
Plutus himself, that knows the tinct and multiplying medicine, hath not in nature's mystery more science than I have in this ring. 'Twas mine, 'twas Helen's, whoever gave it you. Then if you know that you are well acquainted with yourself, confess 'twas hers, and by what rough enforcement you got it from her. She called the saints to surety that she would never put it from her finger unless she gave it to you yourself in bed, where you have never come, or sent it to us upon her great disaster.
She never saw it.
Thou speak'st it falsely, as I love mine honor, and makest conjectural fears to come into me, which I would fain shut out. If it should prove that thou art so inhuman, I will not prove so. Yet I know not. Thou didst hate her deadly, and she is dead, which nothing but to close her eyes myself could win me to believe more than to see this ring. Take him away. My forepast proofs, howe'er the matter fall, shall tax my fears of little vanity, having vainly feared too little. Away with him, we'll sift this matter further.
if you shall prove this ring was ever hers, you shall as easy prove that I husbanded her bed in Florence, where yet she never was.
He exits under guard.
I am wrapped in dismal thinkings.
Enter a gentleman.
Gracious sovereign, whether I've been to blame or no, I know not. Here is a petition from a Florentine, who hath for 4 or 5 removes come short to tender it herself. I undertook it vanquished thereto by the fair grace and speech of the poor supplying to. By this I know is attending here attending. Her business looks in her with a importing visage, and she told me in a sweet verbal brief, did not concern your highness with herself.
Upon his many protestations to marry me when his wife was dead, I blush to say it, he won me. Now is the Count Rossilian a widower. His vows are forfeited to me, and my honors paid to him. He stole from Florence, taking no leave, and I follow him to his country for justice. Grant it me, O king, in you it best lies. Otherwise a seducer flourishes, and a poor maid is undone. Diana Capulet.
Will buy me a son-in-law in a fair, and toll for this, I'll none of him.
The heavens have thought well on the ill of you to bring forth this discovery. Seek these suitors, go speedily, and bring again the count.
Gentlemen and attendants exit.
I am afeard the life of Helen, lady, was foully snatched.
Now justice on the doers.
Enter Bertram under guard.
I wonder, sir, since wives are monsters to you, and that you fly them as you swear them lordship, yet you desire to marry.
Enter the widow and Diana.
What woman's that?
I am, my lord, a wretched Florentine, derived from the ancient Capulet. My suit, as I do understand you know, and therefore know how far I may be pitied.
I am her mother, sir, whose age and honor both suffer under this complaint we bring, and both shall cease without your remedy.
Come hither, Count. Do you know these women?
My lord, I neither can nor will deny, but that I know them. Do they charge me further?
Why do you look so strange upon your wife?
She's none of mine, my lord.
If you shall marry, you give away this hand, and that is mine. You give away heaven's vows, and those are mine. You give away myself, which is known mine. For I, by vow, am so embodied yours, that she which marries you must marry me, either both or none.
Your reputation comes too short for my daughter. You are no husband for her.
My lord, this is a fond and desperate creature whom sometimes I have laughed with. Let your highness lay a more noble thought upon mine honor than for to think that I would sink it here.
Sir, for my thoughts, you have them ill to friend till your deeds gain them. Fairer prove your honor than in my thought it lies.
Good my lord, ask him upon his oath if he does think he had not my virginity.
What sayest thou to her?
She's impudent, my lord, and was a common gamester to the camp.
He does me wrong, my lord. If I were so, he might have brought me at a common price. Do not believe him. Oh, behold this ring, whose high respect and rich validity did lack a parallel. Yet for all that, he gave it to a commoner of the camp, if I be one.
He blushes, and 'tis hit. Of 6 preceding ancestors that gem, conferred by testament to the sequent issue, hath it been owed and worn. This is his wife. That rings 1,000 proofs.
Methought you said you saw one here in court could witness it.
I did, my lord, but loath them to produce. So bad an instrument. His name's Parolles.
I saw the man today, if man he be.
Find him and bring him hither.
What of him? He's quoted for a most perfidious slave, with all the spots of the world taxed and debauched, whose nature sickens but to speak a truth. Am I or that or this for what he'll utter? that will speak anything?
She hath that ring of yours.
I think she has. Certain it is I liked her and boarded her the wanton way of youth. She knew her distance and did angle from me, madding my eagerness with her restraint, as all impediments and fancy's course are motives of more fancy. And in fine, her infinite cunning with her modern grace subdued me to her rate. She got the ring, and I had that which any inferior might at market price have bought.
I must be patient. You that have turned off a value, you that have turned off first so noble wife, may justly diet me. I pray you yet, since you lack virtue, I will lose a husband. Send for your ring, I will return it home, and give me mine again.
I have it not.
What ring was yours, I pray you?
Sir, much like the same upon your finger.
Know you this ring? This ring was his of late.
And this was it I gave him, being a bed.
The story then goes false. You threw it him out of a casement.
I have spoke the truth.
Enter Parolles.
My lord, I do confess the ring was hers.
You boggle shrewdly. Every feather starts you. Now, is this the man you spoke of?
Aye, my lord.
Tell me, sirrah, but tell me true, I charge you, not fearing the displeasure of your master, which on your just proceeding I'll keep off. By him and by this woman here, what know you?
Sir, so please your majesty, my master has been an honorable gentleman. Tricks he has had in him, which gentlemen have.
Come to the purpose. Did he love this woman?
Faith, sir, he did love her, but how?
How, I pray you?
He did love her, sir, as a gentleman loves a woman.
How is that?
He loved her, sir, and he loved her not.
As thou art a knave and no knave, what an equivocal companion is this?
I am a poor man, and at your majesty's command.
He's a good drum, my lord, but a naughty orator.
Do you know he promised me marriage?
No more than I'll speak.
But wilt thou not speak all thou knowest?
Yes, so please your majesty. I did go between them, and I said, but more than that, and as I said, but more than that, he loved her, for indeed he was mad for her, and talked of Satan and of limbo and of furies and I know what not. Yes, I was in that credit with them at the time that I knew of their going to bed and of other motions as promising her marriage, right? And things which would derive me ill to speak of. Therefore, I will not speak what I know.
Thou hast spoken all already, unless thou canst say they are married. But thou art too fine in thy evidence, therefore stand aside. This ring, you say, was yours?
Aye, my good lord.
Where did you buy it, or who gave it you?
It was not given me, nor did I not buy it.
Who lent it you?
It was not lent me, neither.
Where did you find it, then?
I found it not.
If it were yours by none of all these ways, how could you give it him?
I never gave it him.
This woman's an easy glove, my lord. She goes off and on at pleasure.
This ring was mine. I gave it his first wife.
It might be yours or hers for aught I know.
Take her away. I do not like her now. To prison with her, and away with him. Unless thou tellst me where thou hadst this ring, thou diest within this hour.
I'll never tell you.
Take her away.
I'll put in bail, my liege.
I think thee now some common customer.
By Jove, if ever I knew man, 'twas you.
Wherefore hast thou accused him all this while?
Because he's guilty, and he is not guilty. He knows I am no maid. He knows I am no maid, and he'll swear to it. I'll swear I am a maid, and he knows not. Great king, I am no strumpet. By my life, I am either maid or else this old man's wife.
She does abuse our ears. To prison with her.
Good mother, fetch my bail. Stay, royal sir. The jeweler that owes the ring is sent for, and he shall surety me. But for this lord, who hath abused me as he knows himself, though he yet never harmed me, here I quit him. He knows himself my bed he hath defiled, and at that time he got his wife with child. Dead though she be, she feels her young one kick. So there's my riddle. One that's dead is quick. And now, behold my meaning.
Enter Helen and the widow.
Is there no exorcist beguiles the truer office of mine eyes? Is real that I see?
No, my good lord, 'tis but the shadow of a wife you see, the name and not the thing.
Both. Oh, pardon.
Oh, my good lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind. There is your ring, and look, there's your letter. This it says, when from my ring you can get this ring, and are by me with child, etc. This is done. Will you be mine now you are doubly done?
If she, my liege, can make me know this clearly, I'll love her dearly, ever, ever dearly.
If it appear not plain and prove untrue, deadly divorce step between me and you. Oh, my dear mother, do I see you living?
Mine eyes smell onions, I shall weep anon. Good Tom Drum, lend me a handkerchief. So I thank thee, wait on my home. I'll make sport with thee, let thy courtesies alone. They are scurvy ones.
Let us from point to point this story know, to make the even truth in pleasure flow. If thou beest yet a fresh uncropped flower, choose thou thy husband, and I'll pay thy dower. For I can guess that by thy honest aid thou kept'st a wife herself, thyself a maid. Of that and all the progress more and less, resolvedly more leisure shall express. All yet seems well, and if it end so meet, the bitter past, more welcome is the sweet. The king's a beggar, now the play is done. All is well ended, if this suit be won, that you express content, which we will pay, with strift to please you, day exceeding day. Ours be your patience then, and yours our parts. Your gentle hands lend us, and take our hearts.
All exit. End of Act 5. Thank you for joining us for All's Well That Ends Well. We'd once again like to thank all the actors who volunteered to read this evening. While you're surfing the web and continuing to practice good social distancing, visit our website, zenithplayers.com. And again, feel very free to check out the very attractive donations page. 100% of all donations go towards putting on productions, in this case, the practical fees for the various subscriptions for running these readings. If you want more information on our totally volunteer organization, including how to be involved in a reading like this one, head to our Facebook page, Zenith Players, send an email to casting@zenithplayers.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. We want to continue to express our support to everyone out there who's fighting to keep us all safe, nurses, frontline workers, doctors, grocery store workers, and so on and so forth. We appreciate everything you continue to do. Join us for part 3 of The Hound of the Baskervilles on Monday, The Maltese Falcon on Thursday, and The Tempest on Saturday, all at 7 Eastern. Thank you, and good night.